We are there. Good evening. Hello.
Yo,
Couple
we're
of
back from
Sorry,
a little bit of a vacation, if you will, a little holiday sesh there for a couple months.
Yeah, there was very little to talk about, but then when we got the chance to get two such handsome fellows back, as in me and you, obviously not them, but yeah, then when we got the chance to come back, it was like we've got to do it, haven't we? Oh, and then I mean these two have turned up as well, which is nice. So, do you want to introduce and go? I feel like I'm allowed. I'm not allowed to disrespect Hammer, so I'm gonna have to make it up to him throughout the podcast. McNulty, I think me and McNulty have played together long enough now for a little bit of disrespect during this podcast to go both ways. So,
I'm not sure that works that way. To be fair,
but go on, go introduce the guests, and then I'll give everyone a little bit of a rundown of what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, we've got a first time guest here, and apparently it's my brother. We've got a family of Willie, McNulty, and myself now. We're all twins.
I just shaved as well.
Yeah, so Nulty, nice to have you on for the first time, man. Been playing with you for a while with Scotty. Good to have you here.
Yes, yeah, brilliant, yeah.
And then for the 10th, 12th, 15th, 18th time, we have a returning legend, the man, the myth himself, Hammer Dance. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you. It feels good to be back. I miss talking to you guys.
Hell yeah. You took a little hiatus from SoD, a little bit of hiatus from WoW in general, but you've been back going hard for the last couple months now. Kind of what I did, with SoD in particular.
Yeah, so, good to have you back. Is not my jam.
Neither is it mine. Viscidus, I'm over that fight.
Yeah.
And Scotty, thanks for getting the show back together. It's been a while. We've kind of gone our separate ways there for a bit, and we're kind of going back together here now that MoP's coming out and you're back on SoD. I took a little break from Cata and went full in on SoD for the last 3 months, and yeah, we haven't spoke that much, so tonight we get to catch up between ourselves too.
Great.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is I tried getting away from you, and that didn't work very well. And now we're back is what you meant. Yeah. No, it's great, mate. Obviously, yeah, we've been kind of balls deep in our own versions of the game. But yeah, obviously the plan was always to get back together, ready to start building that MoP hype, because there's so much that I want to talk about personally, and already got loads of good guests lined up. I should say great guests, shouldn't I? I shouldn't just say good. Good don't make it sound particularly exciting. We've got some amazing guests lined up for future MoP episodes. Tonight's going to be a bit weird, though. I mean, every night's a bit weird on this podcast, but tonight's going to be a little bit weird because we are mixing it up. Like, the first, I'd probably say the first 2/3 of the podcast are going to be all MoP. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, which I'll run you through everything that we're going to go over. And then sort of the last third, I was going to say half, but I don't know if I can spend half of the podcast talking about SoD, because there's not that, there's not half of a podcast worth of stuff to talk about, but we'll do a bit of SoD to keep these three happy. But first, let me run you through exactly what we're going to talk about. So right up front, if you're watching live or you're watching this as in, the VOD of it, whether it's going to be worth watching or not. So we're going to just have a little bit of a round the table, what versions of the game we're playing, a bit of how Dragon Soul is, how Nax is on SoD, depending on who's playing what. We're going to go through when we think the beta is going to be. So for MoP, roughly based on previous experiences, so when the RAF beta was, in conjunction to how long Ice Crown Citadel had been out, and the Cata beta, I meant, during RAF, and then obviously the RAF beta during TBC. That's far more difficult than it should have been. We're going to go over some of the big systems in MoP that we're excited for, and then we're going to do a Q&A. So the reason I'm saying tonight's going to be a little bit different, and I probably should have waited to have spoke about this until maybe more people are joined. If you super chat, obviously, any support you give the podcast is much, much appreciated. But if you super chat any questions, Gho is going to note all those questions down, and then we're gonna answer them all at specific points. Rather than breaking up conversations, we've got 2 Q&A breaks where if you do super chat any questions, it can be directed at any of us individually or all of us as a group. And then obviously we'll go through those questions. So once we've done the first bit, we'll go to a Q&A. Then we're going to go through some MoP prep, so things you can start preparing now. And then we're going to go into mainly the SoD stuff then. And then again, we'll break for some questions if there are any. I won't get my hopes up that there'll be many questions, but if there are, obviously go for it. And then Gho is going to explain the last bit, and then we can go. We can go. So the bit about the name, why the podcast has got no name and what they can do.
The same way with the questions. You can super chat a name for the show. Since we're talking about multiple versions of Classic, you got to get really creative with it. It can't just be like MoP Pod or something like that. It's got to be something that's Classic and isn't tied to just one version of Classic, since we talk about multiple versions. Other than hardcore, who likes hardcore? Who plays that?
Nobody.
Yeah. How did the BWL go today? I missed it. Were there deaths? Did they wipe? Is OnlyFans over? Can we just play SoD and MoP now?
Didn't watch it, no.
Yeah, no one cares. No one cares.
But yeah, what Gho said is absolutely right. So any super chats, or if you're watching back the VOD, super thanks. Just get in a name, the name that you think that would suit the podcast. You can do joking names or serious names. Like, it's completely up to you. And then we're going to review them before next week. And we're then gonna rebrand the podcast, come up with a nice aesthetic for it all, and make it look all nice based around the name that we choose that one of you picked. Now we can actually get on with the podcast. Let's talk to the guests, eh? Because I feel like all I've done is speak, so I'm going to sit here quietly for 10 minutes and think about what I've done.
Yeah, Nolte, let's start with you. You got the Superman shirt on.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we give us a little? No? Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
A little break, yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's perfect.
Secret identity, mate,
That's getting the vibe in the right spot there. What have you been up to in WoW? Because I'm correct me if I'm wrong here. You play SoD and you play Dragon Soul, like you're raiding on Cata, and you might have a little bit of private server activity as well. So it sounds like you're all over the place.
I am, yes. I play most WoD. I play hardcore a little. I lead a guild on SoD. Yes, yikes. I lead a guild on SoD. I play with Scotty's team on Cata. And we sneak a little bit of MoP in here and there. Plenty of WoW anyway.
What classes are you playing on all of those versions? Is it the same class on all, or?
No. Paladin on SoD, Disc Priest on Cata, and we're playing Warlock on MoP. Hoping to make that my main. Depends how the groups go.
Good luck with that.
Bit of a variety, yeah. No melee though, huh? No melee. Or is the Pally Ret?
I have a lot. I don't. No, the Paladin's holy. But I do a lot of alts. Like on Cata, I have a Feral Druid. I play a lot. I'm dog shit at it, but he gets played. Badly.
I feel like I should jump in and say, "No, you're not, mate."
No,
you're right.
No.
No, you're not. You're not.
That's why he mostly tanks. All right.
All right, and Hammer. I mean,
yes.
We know what you're doing, and I don't envy you at all. But
right now, yes. Right now, I am ranking on Night Slayer on Anniversary for really no reason at all, besides I just want to do it, something I've never done. But yeah, I've been, obviously, as you guys know, I've been going ham on SoD the past few months. I went pretty hard the whole way through and then took a break at the AQ phase because I also am a big Tarkov gamer. I don't know if there's any Tarkov fans in the chat here, but once a year I take off like 2 or 3 months from WoW and I play a Tarkov fresh wipe. Came back at the end of AQ. Been loving Nax. Like the Nax phase, in my opinion, is probably the best phase in SoD since phase 1. Play Melee Hunter, Warrior, Rogue, and recently just got an arcane, healer mage up to like 1,000 gear score, and I've been having fun on that too. But it's been a blast. I think SoD, coming back to SoD after AQ it's felt great, honestly.
Any Cata at all?
I messed around. I did a few of I think they're called the Twilight Protocol dungeons, like the Gamma dungeons from Wrath. I don't remember what they're called in Cata, but I came back with cheese bags for like a week just to test them out, because after I was talking to you, I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna play MoP, so let me see what I got on there. I was like looking at all my characters and stuff. just did a few of those. I think I was maining Ellie Shaman and Kata. But really not much Kata for me right now.
Okay. And Gho, what about you? I mean, I know you've pretty much been living and dying on SoD. Every time I look at the stream, you're, I don't know, either running around Blackrock Mountain getting really excited because you've two-shot someone again. But I've not seen you do anything on Kata at all.
I'm kind of like Hammer. I've done a few Twilights. I've done enough to get about 3,500 Valor. So however many dungeons that equates to.
2.
I was 2. Yeah. I was trying to gear up and stuff and get the few pieces of like pre-Dragon Soul gear, like of upgrades from my Firelands gear. But it's been hard to hop on there. The dungeons haven't been too difficult, but then when they're bad, and then that just kind of like puts me in a bad mood. I'm like, oh, the tank just left or the healer just left, and it's the last boss of the dungeon, and it just fell apart. So now I don't get the bonus like tokens, whatever those things are called, from the last boss. And I'm just like, So then I'm back on SoD, and I'm back in the mountain. I'm PvPing, and I'm destroying the Alliance, because death to the Alliance for the Horde.
All right. Don't need to RP on the podcast, mate. We're all adults here, you know. Oh, good. All right.
But I've been living on SoD. Yeah. I've recently made the Alliance character, or I had leveled it up a couple months ago, but I didn't do anything. I dinged 60 and logged off. Me and a couple buddies, the homie Slan, he's in the Alliance guild now that Hammer put together. And we geared these characters up in the last week and got ready for the Nax that we did the other day. We're getting ready for the Scarlet Enclave that's coming out. And it's been fun to gear it up. And for the first time, I'm not playing Balanced Druid. I've swapped to the Resto side of the Druid talent tree. So I've been healing, and it's been a big change. And dungeon healing feels amazing. And then raid healing, I'm stressed as fuck. I'm panicking. Anytime somebody that I knows dies, I feel personally responsible. I'm like, I'm sorry. Fuck, man. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. So it's stressful, but we had like 6 healers, so it wasn't like too bad, you know, like we were chilling with the heals. But then the tank was going like pack to pack. There's like 5 dead. My mana's at 25%. I'm trying to get reses off. I'm trying to keep up to heal the tank and everything. I'm like, dude, this is nuts. As a DPS, I just get to chill in between packs, you know, like I'm moving up with the tank. Like I'm like, yeah, come on, pull. What's going on? I'm like, why are we waiting?
And you got 25% mana. What's wrong with you? That's enough to get through the raid on SoD.
Not for me. I'm blowing through mana. I don't know how to down rank properly. Bear's been trying to tell me use rank 1 rejuve instead of max rank 4 rejuve to get the swift mins off and stuff. So like I've got a lot to learn about the resto tree, but I knew that if I went balance on this, I would go ham and I would like try to min max it, and I didn't want to do that again. I wanted it to be chill. You know, we're hanging with the boys. A lot of people came back to SoD to play and do this together, and it's been great. So Hammer, thank you for putting it together.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's honestly, I was like going super sweaty all throughout this last phase, and I was at a point where I was like, ugh, I'm spending like 800 gold in consumes. I'm like, it was just starting to get not fun. So I was like, I really just want to like hang out with cool people and do this last phase the right way and kind of end SoD with a bang and just enjoy it. And I think this is going to be the way that we do that.
Cool.
Yeah, it was about a 6-hour raid the other night, but I loved every second of it. You know, as part of that was like a delay because of the DDoS and stuff like that, and trying to fill the raid up. But yeah, it was like 7 p.m. my time till like 1 a.m, and I was sat there loving it. I was like, this is great. Like we had some hard modes turned on for most of the raid, then turned the hard mode off, and I was like, in my head, I was like, just keep the hard modes on. Come on, like let's push this. Let's get these last couple bosses down. Yeah. Like I don't care. Let's spend another 2 hours in here. Let's get this.
Yeah, I was getting like 10 whispers from like different people in the raid. They're like, I have to go in like 10 minutes. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, cool. You're our main tank. Sick. I was like, all right, we got to go to 0 and just finish.
Well, I mean, it's good that we've got 2 of you that are really, obviously, really into SoD. Obviously, Nolty is as well, but Nolty's a lot more split, and What way would you lean more, Nolty? I guess you're leaning more towards Cata and MoP, aren't you? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I might be leaning more to Cata than MoP, to be honest with
you. Yeah. Oh, you'll be on those Cata Forever servers that they announced on the 1st of April.
No.
Oh, you won't be.
Definitely not.
Oh, okay.
That's the first, was it? Yeah. Maybe we can go back to them.
And I'm definitely just all over MoP. Like, yes, I'm just for a bit about what I've been doing. I'll keep it really, really brief. I've been slaving away on Season of Discovery. I started playing again about 4 days ago, and I'm Scarlet Raid ready. The only reason I'm playing is to go and see the new Scarlet Raid. And basically, there's a guy called Inform on Twitch. He's actually talking now. He said, "Man, like our guild's really struggling. Can you sort of come and help us?" So I created a mage and done it, like literally just quested non-stop until 60. It was quite rough, to be fair. But I got there and then I carried them through Molten Core, Blackwing Layers, Olga, AQ, into Nax, done hard mode 4, whatever it is. Got them all stacked out in gear. I'm getting so much abuse on Twitch. Okay. What really happened was he said, I'll get you to 60 and show you the raid. And I went, all right. So he went to the invasions in Blasted Lands, told me to sit there and do nothing. And I went to bed. And that's not even a joke. And he basically just got me to 60 and then might as well have just put a lead on me and just walked me around absolutely everywhere. And now my mage genuinely is absolutely stacked in full Nax gear. I put absolutely zero effort into anything whatsoever. In fact, I spent more time laid on the floor in Nax than I did actually attacking anything. But great guild, great bunch, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I genuinely am actually enjoying Season of Discovery, but I think it's less this is where I might upset some people. I think it's actually less Season of Discovery and more the group of people that I've just fell in with. Because I actually think Season of Discovery is pretty shit. All round. I think the combat's shit. I think most of the classes are. I think the raids are diabolical. I think the gearing system is ridiculous. I think most of it's really overly convoluted and not particularly new player friendly. If you started playing in Phase 1 and then you come back now, overall, I think it's a terrible, terrible game. But I am actually enjoying it. And I've been spending a lot of time on it.
So, Scotty, whenever you went to bed last night, did Inform tuck you in?
Yes, he did. He did tuck me in.
Did he get you a warm glass of milk?
He did, and he rubbed my head, not like as in the one on up here. He rubbed it until I fell asleep. But no, that's just. I know it'll be an unpopular opinion amongst the people that really enjoy Season of Discovery, but I actually, as much as I'm enjoying it, and I've been on the mage more than I've been on Cata, because on Cata, I've got nothing to do other than raid log. Whereas on SoD, I've been doing fishing and cooking. I've done my professions. I was having to go and get blood of the heroes from Eastern Plaguelands and going around and getting flight paths. Everything is so slow. It's the slowest shit that I've ever played. Frustratingly slow. It literally makes me want to just uninstall it immediately when you're online for about 3 hours and then you feel like you've got nothing done. But again, I'm enjoying the people that I'm playing with. Earlier on, just completely sidetracked. I went to go and help Zambi, who's also rolled on EU, the EU server that I'm on Living Flame, if anyone cares. And we was going to go and get him his Molten Core and Blackwing Lair attunement. I got to Blackrock Mountain, and if any of you were watching the stream earlier, you know that this is not an exaggeration. I got to Blackrock Mountain, didn't even do his attunements, because I got killed once or twice and then ended up just PvPing in Blackrock Mountain for about an hour until it was like, I got to go, we've got a podcast. I don't feel like I get anything done. I just end up getting sidetracked because I've got to run from one end of the world to the other just to do the most mind-numbingly boring thing anyway that I don't even want to do. Maybe I should stop playing it, but I won't.
That sounds like...
it's a love-hate relationship.
Sounds like you're having fun. Is that what that is?
I was going to say, Scotty, it sounds like there's actually the stuff that you're doing, you know what I mean, takes a little bit of time. So it kind of prolongs how, it makes you stay online longer, right? Like you just said, all you have to do on Cata is raid log. You don't have to take flight pats on Cata, right?
Yeah, it's the same way you're punishing yourself right now by sitting in AV for no reason whatsoever. I feel like I'm punishing myself by playing SoD, but at the same time, I'm enjoying it.
Exactly, yeah.
But outside of that, anyway, okay, so I'm playing a bit of SoD. You can all like shit on me in the comments for playing a terrible, terrible game that shouldn't even exist. Outside of that, I'm doing, I do a 8 of 8 heroic Dragon Soul on Tuesdays with McNulty. I do another group that we're trying to get to 8 of 8 heroic on Fridays, which we had like a 6% wipe on Spine, and obviously once Spine's dead, then Madness falls over anyway. So then there's that's sort of an alt NA timed run. The other run on Tuesdays is EU timed, and we're starting 25 man on Sunday, like a more focused social run. That's how I would call it. You know, we want to clear content, we want to do well, but like all of the guys, like people from the stream that have joined the guild recently and stuff like that, you know, like everyone's welcome, but no one's getting carried. So doing that, and then obviously outside of the 3 Cata raids, I'm doing a lot on MoP, as you can imagine, getting ready. We're doing some of the strangest things that you can imagine. I wouldn't. I put it this way: I pickpocketed on a rogue with freshly dinged level 90, still in full heirloom gear. I pickpocketed 2,500 mobs last night. Now, you've got to really appreciate how long it takes to pickpocket 2,500 mobs to realise how much of a sad twat I really am. And the only reason I was doing it is because you can get a 476 epic sword and dagger out of the boxes. You know, like you can in Cata, and you could in Wrath. They had like there's the Kroll Blade theme that has gone through the expansions.
Are they BOE?
They're BOE. So yeah, you can sell them on the auction house. So if you're unlucky in like Shadowpan Monastery, for example, as a monk, and you don't get the epic fist weapons, then you'll be able to get the epic swords that are out of the pickpocketing chests. So my whole reason for testing this is yes, I'll talk about it in a video or something at some point. But B, my rogue is my farmer that's on a separate account. So I'm thinking, well, when I'm doing stuff on the monk, on the main account, I can have the rogue just sat somewhere, you know, run around, do some pickpocketing, carry on the monk doing heroics or whatever, you know, as a backup plan for pre-raid BIS. Because we'll get on to pre-raid BIS, because I do want to touch on that, because I've been doing a lot of work quite pointlessly, because I'm not going to put BIS lists out on YouTube or anything like that, because like fucking class discords are going to do that. But I was doing it as an idea to get a rough idea on what eye level we're going to be walking into the raids with, and it's surprisingly high. Like it's amazing how, like, as a shield wearer, so like a prop paladin, a prop warrior, you only need 2 items from heroics, as in heroic 5-mans. If you want to go in like as close to pre-raid BIS as possible, you need to literally get like a belt and a pair of bracers. That's it. The rest you can get crafted. You can get off the auction house. World drops. It's like, with gold, my number one tip before we actually get fully into the podcast is, like, if you're going to play MoP and you're going to play MoP seriously, and this is to you 3, obviously not Nolty, but yeah, you 2, you want to at least be playing Cata a few times a week just for gold. If you can get in a GDKP once a week, just even if you're not enjoying it, just slog your way through it for a few hours, get the gold, because you are going to need it in MoP if you want to actually get pre-raid BIS, because there's a lot of items that are BOE.
Good to know. Good to know.
I remember when I was doing the private server back in December, there wasn't that much for Boomy either for pre-raid out of the heroics. There was like a weapon or something, because there's like a lot of epics. I think it was the same thing in Cata. There's like a lot of epics that are like 6 or 9 eye level higher than the heroic gear, and you had to get them from other sources. So yeah. The heroics, I was still smashing them, like even just to try to get the blue eye level pieces, the 4 something, 446 or something. I don't remember all the eye levels, but yeah, the heroics were quick. Like it's not like a long dungeon or anything like that. Like we were in and out of those things in under 8 minutes.
You're talking about the MoP dungeons, yeah? The MoP heroics.
The MoP dungeons?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I ran through a couple with you, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah, especially the first one, the Dragon Temple, the green aesthetic one. That one's so fast. It's crazy. Like the tanks are just so tanky. They don't stop.
If you've got a Brewmaster tank, like heroics just become a complete joke. Like I don't even stop when I'm running through them on a monk. I just literally go from boss to boss, and you don't even need a healer. It's like there's nothing to worry about. All right, cool. All right, I think that's a decent amount of what we've all been doing and all of that, you know. So let's actually move into the topic. So the first one I've got is how the current raid tier's been. So that's going to be for both Dragon Soul and Season of Discovery. I think how I'd like to do it so we're not just spending too long on any given thing, because I will just shout out once more, if you want to super chat any questions into me, Gho, Hammer, McNulty, or all of us, any super chats you do, we'll have Q&A breaks where we'll actually sit and answer all those questions. So, yeah, that's that. But yeah, we'll have me and Nolty talk a bit about the Cata raids, I reckon, and you and Hammer talk a bit about the sort of state of the SoD raids. And if Nolty, obviously, if you want to chime in on the SoD stuff as well, obviously feel free. I mean, my experience of it is laid on the floor looking at people kill stuff, so I don't think I got any valuable input there.
No, it was good. I enjoyed watching that raid. That was good.
Oh, you got a good view of everything. So I kept turning my UI off, so you got a really cinematic view of everyone fighting bosses. So go with the SoD stuff first. Get that shit out of the way, then we'll talk about the good raid.
The SoD stuff.
Yeah, do that first.
There's a lot of different difficulties now. Like Warcraft Logs has it partitioned in so many different ways, because there's the 20-man raids, and then there's the 20 to 40, and then there's Mythic, there's Heroic, and there's like one other named version, like normal, I guess.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like how many different ways you can look at logs now to see, like, compare yourself to other players in your same like skill level or bracket. So I started off doing, I think we had like 25 or 30, and we went up. We started off at like hard 1 or 2, and then the next week we'd bump it up to 3 and then up to 4. But eventually I got into a 20-man team, and we do it on hard mode 4, and we smash through all the bosses. And then towards the end of this phase, we started to like push for execution for the bosses. So we were trying to get like top 5 in the world for kill times. And that was the first time I had ever done that. And it was kind of neat, but it was also frustrating because in order to do that, if one person dies, a wipe is called. If you're pumping, you're like gapping the damage meter and you're like, yes, like this is going to be like my own personal, like best DPS on this boss. Somebody else dies. It's wipe it up, guys, wipe it up. And then we go again, we pull again just to try to get that faster, like overall group kill time. So that was neat. It was pretty new experience for me, but I'm glad I did that. And I want to do that again next phase. But as far as the hard mode mechanics, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you a fan of how they did the Nax hard modes compared to how they did AQ and BWL and Molten Core? Because I personally think that the way that they did the Nax hard modes is the best one yet.
It's different. They definitely tried different stuff. One of the wings is just negated by weak ores or deadly boss mods. The military wing.
Yeah,
what's supposed to happen?
/flex, all that stuff.
Yeah, what's supposed to happen is a commanding order or something like that is supposed to go out and to a certain number of raiders, and then those raiders are supposed to type out an emote, whether it's like /pray, /bow, /cheer, /something, but everything's just done automatically by add-ons. So that wing, you won't even notice that there's a hard mode like mechanic to that whole wing.
Yeah.
And if you were to have actually had done that and failed that, then your character like runs away in fear or something like that for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, basically puts like permanent auto run on and you can't turn it off.
Yeah. So that one's kind of
last. we actually left that to last, thinking that our dumbfuck raiders were going to mess it up.
Yeah.
And then to realize halfway through the wing, it's doing it automatically.
The spider wing is also kind of like a non-issue. I think little spiderlings spawn, and I've never noticed them. I think like little egg sacs are supposed to spawn, and then spiders come out, and they're supposed to do damage to you or something. I couldn't even tell you because that wing number 2 already.
The ninja pull.
Yeah, they can don't even know what's going on.
It can mess you up. Ninja pulls a lot if you're dying.
Oh, that's why there's so many like double pulls, because especially in pugs, that wing is kind of rough. Because it's like, why did we just pull skitterers and like another pack?
I think there's a gargoyle. Is our gargoyle pulling that, or is it no? It's not a gargoyle pull. It's the double the patrolling green spiders. The charge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ninja or the. Do you know the acolytes in the room before the mistress woman? Yeah, we pulled that whole room.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, I agree with you on that, Go. I feel like most of the affixes are definitely like kind of like you really could just ignore them. Like probably the mushrooms are like the only one that I ever actually get hit by or anything accidentally. But I think the way that they tuned the bosses, the damage and the health and everything on like hard mode 4 feels good, because you do need to have like half of, if you're doing 20, you need like half of your raid needs 6-piece to even attempt it. You know what I mean? Because the difference between having 6-piece and not having 6-piece is like 5,000 to 8,000 DPS. Like it's actually that big. So I like that. I like that there was actual like insane power spikes when you get your 6-piece. But I have more to say on that later when we get deep into it. I have some
for the mushroom wing. For our like execution stuff, we were doing it where for Noth we would have a mob shackled so that we would stay in combat and wait for the mushroom to spawn. The entire raid would stand on the mushroom to get the haste buff, and then right before the mushroom would explode, we would try to kill that ad and then pull the boss, so we had the boss with the haste buff.
Oh, that's
so
nice,
it was kind of crazy on that one, but overall, that mechanic without doing stuff like that is kind of like neither here nor there. The only wing that seemed like it was frustrating for the hard mode mechanic was the patchwork wing, because you could lip the mechanic and negate most of it, but if your raid's not paying attention or somebody doesn't lip and they stay in, then it could be a wipe. Like it's a chain lightning mechanic.
That's hands down the worst one.
If you are the one that gets targeted by it, then you have to still move out even if you lip. So then like your own personal parse is like screwed. So that felt bad in that wing. And then Saf and KT, they added new like actual mechanics to those encounters, and those felt decent. Those felt interesting. Other than the MC on KT. If AoE spells like Starfall didn't hit MC targets, that'd be amazing, because it's back and forth every pool. Like, oh, the Boomkins have killed another MC. Boomkins, you have to cancel Starfall. I ain't canceling Starfall. Pop a GF or Greater Arcane Protection Potion and hope and pray.
Yep.
Yeah, I went through the whole place and didn't notice anything different.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I went through it all, and it was like, even the construct wing. I mean, I didn't get targeted by it, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, I knew what you was meant to do with it, where you lip just as it's about to run out, so it covers two. But yeah, like. Again, you're never going to get anything positive out of me when it comes to Season of Discovery, because even the raid, while it was all right, I went in and got stacked, I still thought it was pretty shit. I mean, it was basically just Rafnax to me. That was literally, Nolt has been saying this for months, and I was all the time, I was thinking, it can't be. I think Rafnax was harder. And Rafnax, you didn't even need hands.
So some positives here really quick. With each hard mode difficulty you went up, you got extra loot, you got extra fragments for Atiesh. So getting an Atiesh every 2 weeks was great, I think. I got mine in like week 4, I think 3 or 4 of the phase, and I've had to use that to pump with. And I had like full bis before I even had Atiesh. So like having that, like all of my gear for over half of the phase felt nice, because there's just so much loot dropping off all the bosses. But another bad thing is the phase was too short. I'm going to be the guy that complains about the phase being too short. It was like 9 weeks, and I would have much rather it have been 12 to 15. Something like there. Yeah, like an extra month or so than what we're getting here. Phase was too short.
No, I think it was good. I think it was a good time. I think it's the only good phase time-wise.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I think it's perfect actually, Go, because in my opinion, Nax at least for me, like Nax gets old so quick for me. Like by literally the 4th week, I was like, all right, like I'm sick of this trash. Like turn it to 0, kill all the trash, then turn it back up, kill the bosses. Like if it was like, and I was talking to someone about this yesterday, I don't even remember who, but I am hoping that the Scarlet Enclave is like a TOGC style raid. If it is TOGC style, where it is just like a gauntlet of bosses, I will probably raid log like 4 or 5 characters just because I love that style of raid. Like it's so much fun.
I wouldn't agree. No, I'd hate that
Yeah,
personally.
TOGC.
I love it.
I like that raid. I think that's a great raid. It's just classic instances are like, it's not about like the individual bosses, but classic raids are like the whole raid. So like you never think, oh, I'm going to go into Nax because my favorite boss is Patchwork. You do Nax as like all 15 bosses.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we'll get more into the nitty gritty during the sod section because I've got a lot to say around the raids. Obviously, I'm just letting you talk about that before we get started on Dragon Soul. But we'll talk a lot more about sod once we've got the MoP stuff done. Because there will be a lot of people, probably more people that are sat waiting for us to talk about MoP than talk about sod. So at least we can get through the MoP stuff, and then they can go to bed or I don't know, go and do whatever they're doing. Watch Bondsman on Prime. Once you finish the MoP bit here, go and watch that. That was quite weird and good. Good old Kevin Bacon. Anyway, Kata, let's at least just talk about Dragon Soul for a minute because I'll start. I genuinely think it's been. I love Blackwing Descent, but I think in terms of difficulty and interesting bosses, I actually think it's probably been the best raid of Kata, which I never thought I would say. This many weeks into it being on farm, and I always thought I would have been saying Firelands was the best, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, excluding Spine, because I still think Spine's just. I'm never going to enjoy it as a fight from any role. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. What have you thought, Nolty? I know we raid together in multiple teams, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think Dragon Soul is the best, but mostly because it's hard. Like early days, very very hard. If Twilight Dungeons didn't come out as busted as they were, the raid. I don't think the raid would be even cleared. Like only 2 guilds on our server killed Deathwing before the nerf, and that was with us. We had 4 sets, like week 1 4 sets. Like without those 4 sets, I don't know if we would have seen a Spine kill for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Super hard. I really loved it. I thought it was the best out of Firelands. I thought was the best. Like if you'd have asked me half a year ago, I'd have said Firelands, but a complete 180. My memories lied to me. I thought Dragon Soul was dogs, and then I went into it unbuffed. Brilliant.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I think even though like it's at the 10% nerf at the moment, and I've seen a lot of people saying, well, someone was saying it last night when I was raiding, that they started putting the nerf in too soon, but I don't actually think they did because it's at 10% now, and all right, the bosses have got 10% less health, do 10% less damage, but you still have to do the mechanics properly. Like you can't. I don't even think when it's on 20%, you're going to be able to just ignore shit and just pump. Like Zonos, we wiped. I think we had before we got to Spine last night. We had 2 wipes, and this is with a group of people that have. It's a different group. It's not our main group, and we had 1 wipe on Zonos just because of a bad bounce at range. Literally, that was all it took to wipe us. One person stood in the wrong place. That's how unforgiving the mechanics
are. Who was that person? Let's call him out, Scott. Who was that person?
Well, someone said that it was a mirror image.
Okay.
It's just we call mirror image. We call Chunk mirror image quite a lot. I don't know why, but no, it weren't Chunk. Chunk was on his rogue, or he was on something. He weren't on his mage.
I just thought it was you. That's why I was trying to get you to.
But it's just all it's done is make like certain bosses are significantly easier with a 10% nerf, but there's still like Zonos, Hagara on 10 man is still a bit of a bitch, to be fair. Unless you're just using Hunter's Pets to do the chaining, which makes life a lot easier. But I'm liking I was loving Dragon Soul, but it is. I'm at that point now where it is starting to wear a bit thin. How many weeks have we been in there? I mean, I am raiding on at least 3 characters a week.
You raid far too much. That's your issue. You got 11 characters on the go.
Yeah, so I think the first few weeks I was pretty much doing a full Dragon Soul clear every day. So
week
it's 6, like
this is week 7, I think.
Is it week 7? Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, a couple of months of doing the same raid, and as I say, I've been doing Dragon Soul on. What have I done it on now? Druid, Shaman, Druid, Paladin, Priest, Rogue, Warrior. Is it just 6? Anything else that I've missed? Yeah, I think it's 6 characters. That sounds about right. Because the first couple of weeks for gems, I was doing 5 or 6 clears a week. But yeah, it probably is that. I've probably just done it too much already. But I still enjoy. I enjoy the last half. I'm a bit bored now of like Morchok, Yorsaj, Zonos, and Hagara. Yeah.
First 6 are pretty. It's different. It's a different difficulty, isn't it? It's like once you get like the Cowman down, it's a new raid. Time to actually like put your brain in.
Yeah, and I do like Madness. I thought I'd hate Madness, but I've said it in videos that I actually prefer. I think. Maybe ask me when Cataclysm's over, but I still think I actually prefer Madness to Ragnaros, just because I think Rag is actually very boring. But
so that's a hot take for sure.
Yeah, I'm after about 6 weeks of doing Rag Heroic, I was bored shitless of it. Where actually I still look forward to Madness now, so maybe it's just got a bit more longevity for me.
I think end boss wise, I think Sinestra probably takes it for me, and then the worst one is Nefarian.
I'm with you on Sinestra. I think so far in Cataclysm, my favourite bosses have been Sinestra and Neff. I like Neff. I really like the Neff fight, and Cho'Gao as well. Actually, Cho'Gao was a really good fight as well. Yeah, I could do tier 11 again. I don't think.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, Firelands is a bit for me like Ulduar ended up. It just, really stale. Wouldn't want to do it again. Yeah. Have you two, either of you two, Hammer, Gho, you got anything on Kata or Dragon Soul in general, or?
It seemed kind of fast that the debuff, whatever it is, started to come out. I thought it was going to be like 5% every week, but now that I know that it's 5% every 2 weeks that it's incrementing by, then I'm like, okay, it makes sense that it came out when it did. I plan on doing the raid, and I wanted to wait until the 30% was out. I want it on easy mode. I'm a SoD player. I want easy raids. I want to go in there and smash it and get my loot and then move on. Because I want to gear up for pre-patch for MoP. That's my favorite time of the expansion. So I hope a lot of loot is dropping in Dragon Soul that I can yoink up and snag and equip and enchant, reforge, gem, transmog. Do everything you have to do to the gear that you get in that version of Classic.
I mean, it's not that different from having to put runes in, reforge, go to Zul'Gurub and get an idol and get a fucking voodoo doll, and then turn it into an enchant, and then put that enchant on, and then go over to Eastern Plaguelands and use 5 fucking tokens to get a tier set bonus for your shoulder. I mean, you're taking the piss, but come on. I mean, SoD is just as bad.
It's funny.
I can't defend SoD there. I agree with you on that. That is my one gripe with it, is that it is too much like future versions of WoW, in my opinion. I don't like how convoluted stuff gets later on, and that is my gripe with how SoD ended up. But that's the only one I have. Other than that, all positive for SoD for me.
Yeah. Then after you've done all that, you have to be like, oh, well, now this breaks my set bonus. So I can't even equip this piece that I just got this enchant from ZG and did all this stuff. And it's like, oh, no.
Yeah, the one thing I'd like to see, so just literally like sort of skimming over chat, is as we're getting through the debuff coming in and we're getting towards the pre-patch and gear kind of is getting to the point where it don't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like by now... Oh, well, maybe not by now. Let's say by the time it's on like 20, 25%, like debuff. Like if you haven't cleared it by then, it's kind of irrelevant. You know, it doesn't matter. Like there's no race going on or anything like that. They should actually full on crank up the loot volume in the raid. In 10-man, have 4 items drop in every boss. In 25-man, just shower them. Like, just literally double the amount of loot coming from each boss. So people who want to come back and get ready for the pre-patch can literally go in and just start blasting Dragon Soul. Loads of loots drop in. Everyone's going to be having a good time. Like, they should definitely think about... I know they haven't ever done that, but they should, because I think enticing people back and making it really easy to get gear up and get geared up in the pre-patch for those of us that are going monk as well would actually be really positive. Or add currency, add a currency to Dragon Soul that you get where you can just go and buy extra items afterwards or whatever, so you can more or less come back in the last, let's say, month of Cata and just get stacked. You can more or less get pre-raid bis, not pre-raid bis, like pre-MoP bis.
I know
almost
what
like
do,
the
right?
Real system in Season of Discovery. That's a great idea.
SoD
is an amazing game, Scott.
It is good though. It's actually brilliant. But for Cata, they should add like 100% health to all of the dungeons, add a currency in, make us spend about 30 minutes a dungeon, and then we get loads. Just do that for the pre-patch. Just loads and loads of health in these dungeons, and we'll get loads of gear. Dragon Soul gear on a vendor. That sounds good, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for the pre-patch, why not? Like,
let's do it.
Yeah, why not? I think it's all just about making not like, if someone is only interested in MoP and they're not interested in really playing Cata, then give them a way to just get stacked in the best gear possible, ready for leveling. It's going to be irrelevant anyway.
How long do you use that gear for, Scotty? Like, if you're full bis end of Cata geared, like, how far does that take you into MoP?
Yeah, you could get all the way to 90. I mean, the catch-up gear...
83, 93?
Is it
87?
87, yeah, you'd start replacing, like, with blue bits of gear, like, from end of quest chains, 87. But even if you was to go and buy... There's catch-up gear vendors in MoP, so, like, if you was going in with particularly shit gear, you can go and buy a full set of gear for gold, which then allows you... It gives you the exact item level you need to queue for the next load of dungeons. I mean,
I don't know if they're
the max
there,
of that's only 408. Yeah, they will be.
I don't know if they're there on week 1, though. I think they come in like 0.1.
Oh, yeah, that's
They
irrelevant.
should put them in, though.
They'll be it.
They should put them in
from the start.
Dragon.
Yeah, they're not going to go... Yeah, that sort of stuff is not going to go in order of phase. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they'd be daft not to put that in. The reason they put it in is because the lower level dungeons don't get run. Literally, from level 80 to level 90, people won't do any dungeons because they physically can't get the eye level. They're leveling too quick to get the eye level to queue for dungeons. So yeah, that's the whole reason they put them in. Like, I think people would make enough noise that they would get added even if they got left out. Nice gold sink as well. Even though it's only like 500-600 gold or something, it's still gold, getting gold out of the economy on people's alts. Cool. All right. So we're all happy with the raid so far. Beta. When do we think the beta is going to launch? So obviously, I've got my thoughts, but you boys crack on first.
When 15% comes out. So what's that? 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks? Week and a half?
Oh, okay. Any logic behind that? Any reason why you think that?
Because then there's a month and a half left until we're at 30%, and then maybe another month after 30% before I would expect pre-patch to come. So to me, that timeline just gives us enough time for the beta to be able to get on there and test everything and go through all the different waves. First wave is like content creators, whatever. Wave 2 is like friends and family and all that shit. And then finally they get to letting a lot more people in there about a month and a half after the beta's been open. So yeah, like 2.5 months or so for the beta. Sounds about right to me.
When is MoP supposed to be actually launching? I don't even know. Is it like July?
There's no release date yet. They put on the deluxe edition where you get the mount and all that. They put like pre-patch by July, launch by August, something like that. But that's always going to be worst case scenario in it. So that's not like so many people have said to me, "Oh yeah, it's launching in August." It's like, well, no, that's they're not going to actually put the release date on it. They're gonna give themselves as much time as possible and put a worst case scenario. But I've got on my calendar the 18th of April is what I've got on my calendar. Friday the 18th of April is when I put for the beta to start. which is not far off what you just said.
About right. Yeah.
I'm a pessimist on these things. I think it'll be later. Personally.
All right. Well,
I would like it to be sooner, but
why?
I'm thinking like. Well, they said August, and I think they're going to need as much time as possible to do MoP. MoP has so much in it; it's crazy. Like for like all the way through Classic to now, it's been like copy and paste the raid in, put all this like couple of quests, a couple of patches. MoP is a different beast. MoP has pet battles. It has LFR, which they haven't done. My tinfoil hat theory is they just didn't have it ready. They've got all these quests. MoP itself is a cluster of phasing. All of the quests have loads of phases. Yeah, I think it'll be as late as they possibly can make it. What's the 25%? It's going to be in what, 6 weeks?
30. It's the end of May. Is 30%.
Well, hopefully not that late.
That's when it's actually at the 30%. Now, so the way I look at it, so I'm looking over here because I'm looking at my calendar. The way I look at it was the 30%. I'm pretty sure comes in on the 27th of May. Someone can check that in chat, but I'm fairly sure it's the 27th of May for NA and the 28th of May for EU. Let's say they waited for the 30%. It hit in the last in like RAF. In Cata, RAF, TBC, it's normally around 3 months of beta from the first ones going out. So, for, like Gho said, where it'll be like about 11 content creators and 8 of those will quit and go back to vanilla within 10 hours. And then there's like me and 2 random people I don't know all playing. That lasts a good 3 or 4 weeks, like painfully long, when there's not enough people on the server to even do anything with. So if it was to start in May, you're talking May, June, July, that would just be the beta, and that's now going to be 3 whole months of Dragon Soul at 30%. Like that.
That's a long time.
That
would be hell.
Well, I mean, I'd stop doing it. Like the second, if we got to the 30% debuff and then the MoP beta launched, I would instantly stop raiding completely in Cata. I wouldn't even play until pre-patch. I would just be living on the beta, which that's not going to be healthy for the game either. I think if I was to guess, as I say, I think not next Friday, the Friday after, will be when the beta starts. That's the week after SoD Phase 8 launches. So the Scarlet Raid, you would have thought, has been cleared by loads of guilds, even if it's not on the hardest difficulty or whatever.
Well, that's a good basis because that's how it's actually went so far that I've noticed playing between the 2 games. It's like they release something on SoD, a week or 2 later, they're focusing on Cata. That's how I've noticed it.
Yeah. Well, there was an update 3 days ago, 3-4 days ago. Zuleli, if you're in chat, you know what I'm talking about. But there was a vendor build updated like 3 or 4 days ago. So that's the second time. So they basically done a MoP 5.0 update, sent it over to vendor build to get drivers built, and then done another update a few days ago. So they're actively working on it, which that would tell me that, whoever it's gone out to has then said this needs changing or that needs changing, and they've now amended it. Now it's going to be back at Blizzard very, very soon to then basically go on their internal servers and go out to content creators, streamers, a small group to begin with. But what you rightfully said, Nolty, is MoP is a different beast. Going into Cata, there, all right, you had like archaeology added, and there was a few little bits.
Transmog.
Yeah, transmog. But they couldn't even get everything done what they announced at BlizzCon like a year before.
Yeah.
They announced the retail auction house and all of that shit that we only just got. Do you know what I mean?
Minute,
so they won't want to. Well, I hope that they don't want to do the same shit experience for the players that they done at Cata launch. So they need the beta out ASAP, and it needs testing. And yeah, I think it's going to be about 3 months. No, they didn't. At BlizzCon, no, they didn't say anything at all. I don't think. Literally, not in regards to changes or anything like that. But I'm sure they will do stuff. there's going to be stuff that's different. And I've got a list of things that just based on the systems that we've got now that would be different, like being able to potentially get access to all of the Gold Challenge mode mounts, just because we've got the retail collection system already. There could be things that, which is positive in my opinion, but I think there'll be things that we'll be able to do that we couldn't before. But I will not be surprised at all if towards the end of next week, we're all putting videos out that the MoP beta will be starting the following week. I think it's going to be very, very soon. I fucking hope it is.
yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm ready for it. I'm that desperate. I'm playing SoD. Like, that's how much I need something to play right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Scotty, that I think when Cata was coming out, that was like SoD was in what phase 3, like the Sunken Temple phase, I'm pretty sure, level 50. And I think that contributed a lot to, because they were still like actively developing Season of Discovery, like I knew what, not new, but whatever they were developing for it. So maybe that is some, there's some light on like MoP will be a smoother development over Cata because of that, because SoD is going to be over, right? Like that's it. There's no more SoD after phase 8. At least I believe that's what it is. But
yeah, so the intern running the classic team and Agron can actually put all their focus into MoP and hopefully make it a good experience.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
That'd be sick, man. That's all I want.
Yeah.
All I want is them to not fuck up my favorite version of WoW. Please. Please.
How long have we been saying that? 10 years?
Yeah.
Said every single expansion?
Well, they might get MoP Classic right. So at least in about 6 years or something, I'll be able to play the anniversary edition of MoP, and that one might work properly. So every
have
cloud.
a real good quality of life in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So that's when we think it's going to start. Well, so me and Gho are basically saying in about 2 weeks. Nolty, you're saying a bit later. You're being
at least May.
You're thinking May. And Hammer, where would your gut feeling be?
I will go with May as well. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't want to I have not been very into Cata and MoP, so I don't even have a take. I'll go with May.
Oh, you have to pick a date, right? There's no point in doing this if you can't come up to Scotty and say, "I fucking told you so." Wasn't I fucking right this whole time?
Yeah, if it's May, I'm not going to read the end of it, which is going to be really, really annoying. I'll be honest with you. Cool.
I mean, think about it. They're going to wrap SoD up now, and maybe they're just going like all gas, no brakes towards MoP, which most likely is what they're going to do. So maybe sooner.
Yeah, I think they'll go hard on MoP, and then if we're going to get anything after SoD, we're not going to know till BlizzCon. So there'll be a pause on that anyway.
That's a long way away, 2026.
TBC coming, right? TBC's coming this holiday season.
When's TBC?
February or something, isn't it?
Year, right?
Maybe like December or something like that.
Oh, is it actually this year? I thought it was early next year.
This year.
Yeah, they didn't give a date, by judging on by the way the phases are going. Probably by December.
Well, they've just had Blackwing Lair, haven't they? That's only been like a week or so, something like that. So,
yep.
Yeah, well, I don't think they want anything more than 3 months per.
Yeah.
Like AQ40 for now, 3 months. Ugh,
yeah,
can't see it.
TBC by the end of the year. I'll do a bit on TBC, but we'll save that for the next podcast, which will be a TBC podcast, which we start in November, which will also need a name. Super chat your ideas. Right, moving on. MoP. So in MoP, what's everyone maining and why? So we'll start with you, Gho. Because I think it's going to be quick.
I don't know, because I've started branching out Resto Tree. Never mind, I'll stop. Maybe I don't play Balanced Druid in MoP. I tested it out on the private server. It wasn't feeling right to me. It felt a lot like Cata. I didn't enjoy Cata Moonkin too much. It was neat, we finally got Solar Beam. That felt really good. But something about the MoP Boomy just wasn't hitting for me. So if I do play it, I might have to go to like Mage, because I played Mage back in the day, and Mage is really fun. And I heard Fire Mage is not the greatest, so I'd have to play. Would it be Frost or Arcane?
It'd be Frost into Arcane or Fire much later. Frost is fun, man. Honestly, Frost in I'm loving Frost Mage in MoP. It's fun.
I've got a mage on Kata. I forget what level. I think it's in the 70s. I'd have to wait for the next Joyous Journeys to come out and then pop that up to 85 and maybe get that ready just in case. So I'm leaning towards either mage or maybe I'll probably have to get the Boomy up to 90 as well. But yeah, one of those two.
Cool. Hammer. I assume you're going to play MoP, aren't you? You're going to come to Mancrick and you're going to come raid with us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to give it a go, right? And I think like what you said earlier is true. Like it depends who you're playing with, and that's how I look at every version of WoW. If I'm playing with the right people, I enjoy it at least for some amount of time. And for me, I when we played Kata in the beginning, which wasn't for very long, we were playing with like Blaze and Bob and Mel and everybody. I played Ellie Shaman, absolutely loved it. It was super simple, just blasting really. And I know I've seen you play it on your stream a million times. But I'm pretty sure in MoP that Ellie Shaman sucks, if I remember correctly. But I would most likely be going, if I was staying caster, probably playing Warlock. But I don't really know much about how the specs or anything work in MoP, so I would have to really look into that. But if I was going to play for real, I'd probably play Lock.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie Shaman's good in MoP. Like Ellie Shaman, it's very, in terms of casters, very middle of the pack. Warlock.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not going to feel
pumper.
how it felt in Kata for me when we were playing Phase 1. I was just absolutely ripping the meters apart.
It's satisfying. Playing Ellie Shaman in MoP is, I'd say, satisfying. But yeah, if you want to rip meters apart, you're not going to do it as an Ellie Shaman. Like,
what is the best Warlock spec?
Destro, which is very, very easy. It's going to be Destruction early on multi-target, still Affliction, but unfortunately there's only really one fight in the first tier where you'd even go Affliction, and that's the very, very first boss. And then you'd spend literally the rest of the tier as Destro, and then Affliction later on is just king on almost everything. But still, Destro, is competitive. The only thing I don't really know about too much is how Demonology is going to stack up, because it's not something we really see a great deal on private servers. But it's going to be one of those specs that when it's in the hands of a whole classic Discord of Warlock players, anything could happen with Demonology. But certainly, I think first phase is just going to be Destro all over. I can't see that changing. But it's like later down the line, could be either of the other specs.
That sounds fun to me. What about you mentioned Affliction? Is Affliction anything similar to how it played in Wrath?
Nolty's playing a Warlock, so Nolty can probably help more than me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Warlock main and Disc Priest. But no, Affliction, it's not. No, it's a lot of it's still same basis. That Haunt and Soul, Soul move it after 25% or whatever. But it's all about Soul Swap. So you're multi-targets, you're Soul Swapping flat out. Trying to get as much snapshots as you can. It kind of maintains that old play style of, monitoring your trinkets and your ICDs.
Yep.
Need to know if you remember from back in the day.
And Destruction is just blasting, I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah. The most you'll have to think about as a Destro Warlock is whether you use Chaos Bolt with or without a trinket proc.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there going to be a lot of pre-pull stuff like Warlocks are having to do for a minute before the pool in MoP as well?
Probably.
Or is that like a to be determined thing? Like,
isn't that like most classes in MoP?
Classic players are crazy.
That's one thing that I've been like, oh man, I don't know if I'm into.
They'll find a way, guarantee it.
At this moment in time, the only one that I would commit to is Rogue. Sub Rogue will still be doing pre-pull shenanigans, like 100%, because they're still doing it in WoD as well. That's sub rogue pre-pull is not going to change. Obviously Demonology is completely different, so they get a completely different resource now. You have Demonic Fury, so you're like you're not building up a big stacked metamorphosis. I don't think Demo Warlock's going to be doing anything pre-pull wise, but there will be others. Like you can guarantee it. That's why Blizzard need to do what they done. Like obviously it became an issue, and that's why they added like legacy tier bonuses where they just don't work. They'll only work in relevant content. So that's my opinion anyway. I know a lot of people enjoy doing the pre-pull stuff, and I've openly said in videos I'm a hypocrite because I do it every pull. much to Nolty's despair most of the time, because I'm like, 45-second pull timer, please. Like, I do it, but I just don't think it should work. I don't think you should be able to use an old tier set and maintain the bonus when you swap your gear. I'm not talking from a way the class plays or anything like that. I'm talking purely from it does not make sense that you can get bonuses from things that you don't have equipped. It's like not good game design.
It's one of those things that I would honestly hate, because like you just said, I would do it because why would I not do it? But I wouldn't like doing that. You're 100% right with like stuff like that should not work.
It makes moving to the character like a pain. Like, how many rogues right now are like, oh, I'm gonna play a rogue in Dragon Soul, and they're like 2 sets of gear? Fuck off. You mad?
Oh,
no chance.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So so we got Hammer on probably Destro Warlock. Nolty really wants to be a Warlock main, but odds are he'll be a Disc Priest. And he's a Disc Priest in our main group, and unfortunately he's a very, 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 very fucking good Disc Priest as well. So it is going to be very difficult.
I feel like I just got told I'm a bad Warlock. I feel like that's how this went.
No, it's just unfortunately finding a good Warlock is nowhere near as hard as finding a good Disc Priest. So, you can take it as a compliment. And then Gho thinks he's going to go Mage, but obviously he's going to be Boomkin.
Balance is good, though. Balance is good in MoP. It's not unreal, but it's good.
Yeah.
As Hammer was saying, like the Ellie Shamans aren't going to be there for the whole phase, I don't think, like the whole way through MoP. Boomkin's just going to take that haste buff slot.
Yeah.
The bad thing about Boomy early phase, like phase 1 of the expansion, is having a lack of haste, having long spell cast times, and having low crit just feels really bad. So like Boomy for sure towards the end of MoP, I'm sure I'd get a lot more into it. But the start of the phase, like Kata in tier 11, it felt rough. I was just like, oh, this is rough to get from Eclipse to Eclipse. It's taken forever. They did change the Eclipse in MoP to make it faster to get from one side to the other, but still just low haste on Boomy feels bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're complaining about long cast times and you play Season of Discovery. I went,
mate. 1 second cast times. It's sick.
Well, lucky you. On my mage, I started casting Frostfire Bolt when we pulled the boss, and then they was on the next boss before it finished casting. It's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous. 3 second cast times.
Yeah, I was listening to your stream one day on the way home from work, and you were like, I can't even get a cast off before the trash mob's dead. Like, what is going on? Like, I have to hit an instant cast in order to do any damage.
Yeah, I was running around spamming Ice Lance. Yeah, there was no point hard casting anything, because I can half stone quicker than I can cast a Frostfire Bolt. It's ridiculous. All right, cool. And for anyone who hasn't guessed, I do, and just touching just on chat a little bit, because I did see a couple of different comments about going Survival Hunter. Survival Hunter, just mark my words and feel free to come back and tell me I was wrong. If it turns out I'm wrong, I think Survival Hunter is going to be the biggest fucking pumper of Phase 1. Overall, I genuinely think Survival Hunter is going to be the stacked class in raids. Even though stacking Skull Banners, stacking Stormlash Totems from Shamans, absolutely. But if you've got enough of those and then you want to just stack raw, consistent, strong damage, I think you're going to see a lot of Hunters in raids. There's absolutely no reason to take other things over Hunters in Phase 1. They all just do ridiculous damage, even if they're terrible players. Honestly, like we've got one. We've got one who's blind, and he's pumping. Oh, sorry, Stark.
I'm not.
No. He's a very good hunter, by the way. And me. What am I going? Yeah, you could probably guess. I'm going monk, and monk. And I did say that 3 times intentionally. I said it 3 times intentionally because I'm going main is a monk, alt is a monk, and then my 25-man character is going to be a monk. I
thought you meant 3 different specs, like Brewmaster.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Thing is.
Yeah, so I'm going to be Brewmaster / Windwalker in our main run. So I'll be like the second tank and then DPS on 1 tank fights. My second monk is going to be Mistweaver. My second monk is going to be Windwalker Mistweaver. So it'll be Windwalker main spec, and then I'll be the third healer. And then in 25 man, I'll be just full on with Mistweaver. So Mistweaver, probably Brewmaster, because it's going to be a 25 man character. I'm thinking probably go healer and tank. So if a tank's missing, I'll tank. If we need a healer, I'll heal. Yeah. And then I'll probably have, like I have in Cata, I've got absolutely every character at 85 and some of them multiple times in MoP. In MoP on the private server, I've got 21 level 90s. That's just on this season. That's not counting, last season, just in this season, which hasn't even got the second raid out yet. I know like it's got quicker XP rates and everything, don't get me wrong, so it's not a massive achievement, but I did look the other day and add a count up when I was on stream and realised I had 21 level 90s and thought probably stop leveling now. I don't think there's any need for any more. But I'm a massive sad twat, what can I say? So yeah, monks, and then probably everything else. I'll eventually get everything to 90, but in terms of raiding for the first few months, all I'll be doing is monk. I've played a monk since original Mr. Pandaria, and my main on retail to this day is still a monk. It will just never change. Cool. Next, top systems. So top systems coming in MoP. Now, we're not going to cover all the systems because we have spoke about this in the intro to MoP podcast, which was a couple of months ago. So if any of you have not seen that, go check it out. I was probably drinking back then as well. So it was probably more entertaining than this shit, to be honest with you. I'm too serious nowadays. It's not good. But I just want to touch on the systems that each of us are most excited for. So we can all say one system and like one main system and then maybe one honorable mention. And we can overlap. So like, if McNulty says, I don't know, Proving Grounds. That's what I'm gonna say. I can still say Proving Grounds, but I'll go last because I can try and pick something that I am excited for that one of yous don't say.
I know what you're going to say.
I mean, I was just going to say MoP. That's the biggest system I'm looking forward to is the game. We'll let Hammer start because I reckon Hammer.
I was going to say, I'm sitting here like, someone please send me a list of the systems coming in MoP because I have no idea.
Well, what have you heard about at least a little bit in MoP that you've heard and thought it ain't even got to be a system, but just something you've heard about in MoP where you're like, yeah, actually that sounds quite good.
I'll be honest with you, bro. Nothing really.
Oh my god.
That's why I told you the other week. I was like, I really need you to convince me to play MoP because I haven't followed it at all. It never really was something. I really wasn't even going to play it up until like a few weeks ago when I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll play it. So I really don't know. I know you get LFR and MoP, right? Which is great, but I probably wouldn't even be doing that if I was playing. I don't know what else cool comes that wasn't in Cata.
All right, I'll start off with one. It's a big one for me, maybe not for many, but AoE looting. Huge quality.
Does that
of
actually
life.
come in MoP? I had no idea that came
quality
in MoP.
of life right there. Yeah, it should be coming in MoP. I thought it came out in Cata because I played a Cata private server before Cata came out, and there was AoE looting in that. And then when Cata launched in Classic and it wasn't there, I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is ridiculous. I should be able to AoE loot." So finally, I'll be able to group up a whole bunch of mobs, AoE them down, and click one button and gather all of that loot in one click. It's just
that is nice.
It's the same thing as like mining nodes in Classic. You have to sit there and tap the node 4 times. And then finally, what was it? Was it Wrath? You get to like one tap the node, and just that little change makes a big difference. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal Gho's. That's my favorite thing coming in MoP. AoE looting.
All right, what about an honorable mention?
I don't know. It's only 5 levels to get up to 90. It's
longest
nice.
levels you'll ever be in, as well.
Is it longer than the Cata leveling?
Yeah.
So, on par.
Yeah, if it's probably the same. Where like 84 to 85 feels like it took as long as it did to get from 8. Wait, what did I say the numbers wrong? From 80 85 to 89 probably takes as long as it takes to get from 89 to 90. Like that last level is always so fucking long.
Yeah, that's why they put it back to 10. It felt bad, even if it was the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't you automatically get your spells learned as you're leveling up too? So you don't have to keep going back to the trainer to learn spells?
Yep.
That's right. That is good, yeah.
So there you go. There's my honorable mention. Less time spent going back to the major city to talk to your class trainer. It just automatically happens. Boom. You ding. You got your next spell rank. Sick.
Aren't you a
Blows
classic
my
Andy,
mind
though?
while you play SoD. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, you're a classic Andy.
I mean, I disagree with a lot of systems in SoD. Don't get me wrong. Like when I went back to it, I felt the same way about trying to travel all over the world. It takes 30 minutes minimum to get a dungeon formed and everybody there. And that's a long time. You queue up in Cata, queue pops in a minute. You're already in the dungeon and have it cleared before I've even got to my dungeon in SoD. So yeah, I could bitch about SoD all day, but I play it and I still love it.
All right, Nolty. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Obviously, AoE looting, I absolutely detest single target looting in any version of WoW. And yeah, the leveling up and getting the abilities is nice. It wouldn't be one that I actually mentioned with all the amazing shit that comes in MoP, but cool. Go on, Nolty. What's yours?
Yeah, it has to be challenge modes. Like, if the dungeons in Miss Pandaria are probably the worst dungeons in all of WoW. They're terrible. Like, you just run through them the whole way, start to finish. And then they made challenge modes, and they're now brilliant. They're intricate. You gotta like get the whole way from start to finish, and it's crazy. It's really they're really good. Like, you need invisibility potions, you need a proper raid comp or proper group comp. You need good players. If you don't have good players because of the scaling system, they're not going to be very useful to you. But no, they're brilliant. They're like a proper challenge. They're not super hard. They're a good challenge. So that would be mine.
See, and I did like scenarios in that private server, and like that's why I didn't choose scenarios, because like I don't really care for the scenarios.
No,
Gold
they're
challenge
not great.
modes, I'm not too interested in gold challenge modes either. So it's not that I don't know of too many systems that are coming. It's just I don't think they're that special.
No, challenge modes are great. Like, can't beat them.
I don't know. I don't know why he felt the need to turn his camera off. It's all right if you need to go somewhere, go somewhere, but don't turn your camera off, for Christ's sake. It literally messed everything up, and I'm like, I'm on the screen twice. I was looking and I was like, has he gonna get changed? Oh, it's me.
Wait a second. They got to see our angle for.
I really did space out because I was trying to sort the cameras out. But challenge modes, yeah, cool. Like Nolty, give for people who there might be people watching that are trying to get ready for MoP and don't actually know what they are. So do you want to give a real snappy like overview of what challenge modes actually are?
They're basically like the precursor to Mythic Plus. They're timed dungeons where you basically got to get through the instance as quick as possible. Everything hits really hard, but it's, how do you put it? It's more like a mini race through the whole dungeon, and it's balanced really tightly. So you got to do things perfectly to get them right. You can't just, and they're also scaled, so they're scaled to your item level. So the only real nerf to them, like the only way to make them easier with gear is through gems. So they get easier with each patch because you get access to more gems. But other than that, they're going to be the same difficulty from start to finish. So you got to learn to do them properly. You can't just wait for the 25% nerf and then we'll kill Deathwing. You know?
Yeah, and just on one of them, like when we progged some of them together on the private server, and I went in Temple of the Jade Serpent yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? And I paid a lot of attention to that first boss, where it does like the barrage of ice bolts at everyone. And it does literally...
Scott.
Yeah?
He's back.
Yeah, he's on the screen again. He's on the screen again.
Okay, okay. All right. There was a little delay, sorry.
Yeah, no, he's there again. And it literally... The mechanics almost change completely, don't they? It's like...
No, they're far better.
Even though they're there, like the mechanics are there and you see them happening, they do nothing on heroic. And then you go on challenge mode and you're like, well, I actually need to do things properly.
Yeah, I nearly think that they made challenge modes how they were intended to be done, and then just slapped a massive nerf on them to release to the public. Like, they're so good, but when you do them, like I'd say, 90% of people who've done MoP have just like done the heroics, and they shouldn't even be called heroic. They're that easy. So the challenge modes just make these dungeons that don't feel very good brilliant.
Do you think they're going to be a lot more accessible this time round?
Yeah.
Because it was almost a bit of an exclusive club, wasn't it? Like that done challenge modes back in the day. It was a real accomplishment to actually have the transmog set.
I just think we're all bad. Like, the classic player base now is just infinitely better, and we've seen that as soon as they went into classic and everything died in an hour. So I think I don't think challenge modes are going to be seen as this like pinnacle of difficulty like it was back in the day. Like, you having that transmog meant something. It meant like you'd really done something. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I still think they're worth doing. They remind me kind of like TBC dungeons or TBC heroics. You remember, like, people had a real pride about killing them. We went back to them there a couple of years ago, and I was like, yeah, they kill the tank sometimes in one hit, but that's about it.
Yeah. And I'm with you. I think it will just end up being the most efficient way to get Valor every week. Like, that's literally what it's going to end up for most people.
It would be good if pugs were doing them, because it's a different experience with pugs. Like, you get all the boys together, you can talk to each other and you can communicate, and things just sort of work. But in pugs, getting the pug community to do them is going to be good. I like that.
Yeah, and like someone said in chat, comparing them, anyone who's been Pugs M Plus on retail, challenge mode is just going to be a walk in the park. And
it's a lot easier,
and Pugs do Mythic Plus, obviously. I'm looking forward to challenge mode. I think that was a good one. Have you got an honorable mention?
Only because I think you're going to say it. Pet battles are amazing. I love pet battles. Best things in the world. Can't wait to see Scotty turn his hat backwards, become an absolute Pokemon master.
All right, so we'll talk a little bit about pet battles then. Go, have you done any?
I tried. I didn't really look up how to do the pet battles. I didn't realize that I think you have to go to a major city first and talk to like a pet battle trainer there before you can even like interact with them in the world, like the critters in the world and stuff. So that kind of put me off of it at the start. But once I figured that out, hard mechanic to figure out, and I started doing the battles, then it was fun again. It's a simple turn-based system, the 3 abilities that you can unlock and stuff, and have different abilities for those 3 attacks. But yeah, I used to like it back in the day. I'll probably like it now. I don't know if I'm gonna like min-max it and try to like figure out the best combination of 3 pets or anything like that. But I like doing it casually. I like just hopping on and just playing that mini game inside of the game.
Hammer, any interest in that?
I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, I messed with it when it first came out, and honestly, in other versions of WoW. But I probably wouldn't mess with it unless, like, I was just gonna ask you, is there anything important that comes of it as a reward in terms of like gearing or anything that you like actually need to min max your character?
At certain points, they become really busted for leveling. So keep an eye out for that. Sometimes Blizzard just breaks them, and they're really strong when it comes to leveling up.
Okay.
An old one back in the day was you'd bring your low level into the level 90 zone where the cities are, and you'd just kill water striders, and it would take you like 5 hours to max a character.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, if that was the case, yeah, I would definitely be interested in them. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it's a cool little mini game system, but definitely not something that I would be like super thrilled about.
I hope they give reasonable experience, because now that everything's connected, it would be cool to like do the battles and get a little bit of experience that's worth doing sort of at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like a Abyss way to level characters, that I could get behind, because like if I'm doing something on one account, throw the other account up on the other screen and just pet battle to level, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it works out about 80% of a quest normally. It can be quick. Well, I've leveled loads of characters to 90 from level 10, literally level 10 to 90, just sat in Veil of Eternal Blossoms. Obviously, that is with heavily increased XP values, but there's a lot of like, you don't have to do it. It is a purely optional system, but you know, even getting your bonus rolls, a legit way of getting your bonus rolls for raids every week is doing pet battles. And obviously, like Nolty said, leveling. There's lots of little tricks, if you know them, that you can kind of abuse them, because the dailies, when you unlock the dailies for the pet battles, they're account wide. So you don't actually have to do the dailies on like your main, for example. So it's a really good way to even get XP. When you're running around questing, you can do the pet battle dailies as well on your ults. Or if you really, really want to abuse it, what you can do is there's a rare called Croll the Blade where you can get an XP potion. It's 300% XP for an hour. So a triple XP potion, you can go on your ult and use the 300% XP potion and then log off. And then go on your main and run around and complete loads of pet battle dailies, but don't hand them in, because you don't actually have to hand them in at the pet battle trainer. It's one of those where it pops up saying, you know, you can press complete. So go around, do loads of pet battle dailies, then log on your ult that's got 300% XP and just click complete on all of them and log out. So you'll literally
do that every day for a week,
and do that every day. Yeah, you'll and you're getting 300% XP, and you'll be handing in, you know, maybe 8-9 quests every day at triple XP. You could literally go from like 10 to 90 in one XP potion if you used to do that.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, like I say, there's lots of ways you can cheese pet battles, and I'm sure I'll probably ruin them all and tell everyone about them over the course of a few months. Cool. Next. So that's the systems are excited about. Oh, apart from me, I haven't actually said. All right, so I want to say stuff that hasn't been said. I would say the Proving Grounds would be one of them, because I'm really actually looking forward to Proving Grounds. It's just a shame that if Blizzard follow the way it was historically, then it shouldn't come out until Siege of Orgrimmar, so it'll be the last phase. But Proving Grounds are really, really cool, and actually one of my favorite bits of content added in MoP, hands down. But it kind of got built on, didn't it? With like Mage Tower and stuff like that, you know, where it's a solo player experience that gets increasingly more difficult. And it's fun. It's literally for all three roles, so tank, healer, DPS, and they're different depending on what you're doing. And you can get bronze, silver, and gold, and then you can go for endless, where you literally just keep getting waves and waves and waves. And I think to get the meta achievement is 30 waves is classed as complete in endless, if I remember rightly. Don't quote me on that.
It's hard as well.
It is hard.
It's hard.
So I'm looking forward to that. Like I like the solo player content where you sort of sit there and get really frustrated. You know, where you're like trying to just do it again and again. Like that's why I love delves. Like if any of you remember when War Within first launched, you know, I was up till like 4 o'clock in the morning trying to kill Zekvir, and you know, obviously got Zekvir down, done bloody whatever it was, like delve the difficulty 10 or whatever the highest was, and like that was frustrating. Just dying, go again, dying, go again. I think didn't you have to do like a level 10 delve or something without dying? It was something like that I was trying to do. But yeah, I like the solo player experience, and Proving Grounds would be one of them. Any thoughts on that?
I'm a solo player, big solo player, so I'd probably try that out again. I vaguely remember it being in like a small little circular room and having to do those waves of mobs. But yeah, I like solo content. I don't have to bother anybody. I don't have to look for a group. I don't have to do anything. I just hop on whenever I want to, and I can do that thing and work on it. Yeah, I like something like that.
Is it in Siege when they blocked you behind Proving Grounds before you could queue?
That was WOD.
Your man in chat. Was that WOD?
That was WOD.
They actually block you.
Yeah, you had to get silver in. They only done it for that one expansion. You had to get silver in Proving Grounds before you could use Random Dungeon Finder on Heroic. Stupid. Like they took a piece of content that was meant to be fun and optional. You know, you only had to do it if you wanted to, and then was like, sorry, you've got to do this. You've got to do this piece of optional content that we put in. Like, yeah, it's fucking dumb, man. That's why they only done it once. And I've got an honourable mention as well, haven't I? Well, I'm gonna stick with the same theme. I'm gonna stick with the same theme of solo player content and say Brawlers Guild, because I love Brawlers Guild as well. And Brawlers Guild, the thing I love about it is that you are all together. You know, it's not instanced. Obviously, Proving Grounds is instant, so you go in and it's just you there and that's it. Whereas with Brawlers Guild, it's really cool actually almost getting in a queue to do your fight and knowing that everybody else that's doing Brawlers Guild is going to watch you either do it or fail. It just adds pressure.
What is Brawlers Guild, Scotty?
Nolty or Go, if either of you want to take that. What it is?
I don't remember it too much.
It's basically you get an invitation to go into this place in Orgrimmar or Stormwind, or maybe it's Ironforge, is it? And you basically queue up for a brawl, a fight. It's a PvE challenge essentially, and you'll stand in line with all these other people in the place, and you'll watch them because it's like a big arena, and you can stand in boxes and stuff and watch them, and you basically just do a solo boss, and it has different tactics, and some of them are really easy, some of them are really hard, and they should generally get gradually harder as you get to the higher ranks. That's it. You just go in and kill a boss.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'm not a solo player, but I will say one thing in SoD has made me enjoy like a solo challenge, and it was the Warrior Kansu fight 17 times in a row perfection challenge thing. And I never play anything. I hate solo anything in games. And that challenge to get the sunglasses on my Warrior, I don't know if you know what it is, Scotty, but
I don't know.
Absolutely no
So
idea.
you basically, so in Silithus, you have to find a wandering swordsman. You talk to him, and you can take this solo boss fight challenge like way up in the sky on a pillar, and it's like a big like AQ style boss, and you have to fight it by yourself, like memorize like patterns that are changing, and one mishap and you get knocked off the pillar and you die. And if you were able to complete it 17 times in a row on Warrior, with on hard mode, not normal or easy, you got a buff called Dedication, and it gave you permanent like sunglasses on your character. Normally I hate stuff like that, but I wanted those shades so bad on my Warrior that I sat there for like 2 weeks trying it. I got up to 15 stacks, died. Then I would get back up to like 13 stacks, died. And I did it for 2 weeks until I eventually got it on Discord with Cheesebags. He was watching me, and that felt really good. So to be honest, something like that, I probably would be interested in MoP. It was so fun.
Yeah,
that's such a classic thing as well. Do it 17 times.
Yeah. You get like every time you beat him once.
Enough.
Yep, you would get a buff that's stacked called like Astral Perfect Victory, and you needed to get that buff stacked up 17 times. And when I died on 15 stacks, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm never doing this!" Like, and it's classic too. So you had to go and find the Wandering Swordsman every single time to start the fight in Silithus, running around on your mount.
I didn't know it was the runes.
Dude, yeah, it was brutal, but when I finally did it, it felt good. So that sounds like similar to what Brawlers
like
Guild
the sunglasses on you all the time.
Yes, they are just a permanent buff on your character. You literally can't take them off. It's a meme. Like Blizzard just puts them on your character. You cannot take them off. Some helmets look terrible. They clip through the helmet, so you have to just not show helmets. Otherwise, it looks horrible.
I need to log into SoD. I have legit not seen anybody wearing them.
I'll send you a screenshot in the Discord chat.
Well,
but yeah, that sounds. It sounds like what Brawlers Guild is, and if you asked me 3 months ago, I would have never been into something like that. But after doing that challenge in SoD, it kind of made me find like a love for that kind of content, and I would definitely be into the Brawlers Guild.
Well, it's fun because
it's do both.
Yeah, you'd like Proving Grounds as well, definitely. Mm-hmm. But it is, it's cool the little additions that there are to Brawlers Guild. As I say, I love the fact that it's not instanced. That's one of the things I love about it. So everyone can watch you fail. And there's nothing worse than everybody just stood there and watching you fail. And then they're like, bro, you need to do this, you need to do that. Yeah. But they've actually got mechanics. It is literally like one-on-one with a boss. There's things that you need to avoid, things that you need to interrupt, things that you shouldn't interrupt, and it's kind of trial and error. And
there's that one boss. Remember the one boss with the sparity stuff coming out of him? That was legitimately like the one that everyone failed on.
Yeah.
Well, the announcer comments like, he's not going to do it.
They added more as well, didn't they? So like,
Yes.
and you even get to go up on a Zeppelin. Like once you're rank 7 or something, you can go up on a Zeppelin and you can watch from above. And it's a bit of an exclusive place where only people with the right rank are going to be up there. It's a lot of fun. Like I say, it's all these small systems in MoP. Like we've not even spoke about scenarios, but there's a lot of smaller systems in MoP that got added where it's like, oh, all of a sudden, you don't need to just raid log. There are things to do. Someone, Thomas in chat just mentioned Timeless Isle, and obviously there's Isle of Thunder as well. Yeah, those places where you can just go around on your own. You feel like you're progressing to either your main or alts because you can get lots of good alt gear. I just think MoP is just jam packed with shit to do. If you're into actually doing stuff rather than just raiding. I know a lot of people will just raid log because that's all they're interested in. Whereas, there's a lot of content in MoP, and I'm fucking hyped. Okay, this now would be the point where we've got Q&A, but there's not been any super chat questions, so we can kind of just skip past it, I guess.
Cool.
And then it'll be MoP prep. And if anyone does super chat any questions, obviously there is one more Q&A, but that was a quick Q&A. Cheers, guys. We'll go on to MoP prep, what people can be doing now. Just absolutely anything that people could be doing now, getting ready for MoP.
I need some gold farming ideas because my go-to is usually farming cloth. And I was gonna farm some frostweave cloth because it looked like that still had a little bit of value. But yeah, if anybody has any gold farm ideas, I feel like that would be what I would want to prep the most myself because you guys were saying we need a lot of gold for it. So yeah, if I could farm some solo, then I'd love to do that.
Have you heard of the WoW token?
Have you seen my bank account?
You're talking to two people that go and do GDKPs to make gold. So I mean, getting actual gold advice is going to be a rough one from us.
Yeah, I mean, outside of GDKPs, I might get in one, but
I'll give you one. I'll give you one that I can't just give it to you because obviously everybody's going to hear. So I'm going to have to whisper it. All right. All right. But if you think about one of the big systems that McNulty said he was excited about, obviously it was challenge modes. Now, in challenge modes, once you know the route that you're going to take, not killing all the trash is incredibly important. Like that, that's rule number one. If you've got to kill 25 trash mobs in an instance, you only want to kill 25. You don't want to kill 26. So there's these things that you'd be able to farm now and make and just stock them up. And trust me, you will rake it in when MoP launches. But again, don't tell anyone. I'll whisper it. They're called invisibility potions. So invisibility potions people will use to actually skip trash in dungeons. You want the 18-second ones, but obviously don't tell the general riffraff on YouTube or they'll ruin the market. But that will be an amazing gold maker that you can literally sit on thousands of them now, and within the first 2 weeks of MoP, you'll be able to shift them all. And the recipes. The recipes for Invis Potion are a world drop. There's nowhere farming them in a place. You can look on Wowhead and look at drop rates. We've been picking them up left, right, center for anywhere between 5 and 20 gold. I'm buying them all because when people realize that they're having to buy Invis Potions off the auction house for 10, 15 gold each just to go and do challenge modes, they're going to want the recipe. That's the best thing I can tell you, and get loads of scribes. Have all your alts as inscriptions.
Just play the game. If it's before MoP, we're talking now, even if you don't want to do GDKPs, even if you clear the raid on normal every week, you'll be given a gem or two that will sell for 5 to 4k gold. They're still even expensive now, so that's a couple of k that you just get for for doing the raid. It's handy.
Yeah, but having lots of gold is obviously going to be worthwhile, and especially if you want to get the Grand Expedition Yak, that's 115k with no rep discounts. You're going to want a lot of gold, and like I said earlier, when it comes to pre-raid bis, there's going to be a lot of items that are BOE, having a lot of gold. But again, I'm the worst person to talk to when it comes to making gold because we get our guild bank capped on 1 million within the first couple of months of a raid tier launching, and then we'll then spend that 1 million gold at the start of a raid tier launching and then make it back. And that's literally what we done. We had 1 million. We had the gold cap, 1 million gold sat in the bank, and then when Dragon Soul launched, we spent all of it. Like literally, we spent 1 million gold in the first week, and now we're back up to like 600 odd K again. But that is purely, selling things at the right time. Like as soon as they buffed the epic gem drops, we literally sold every epic gem that we had and made hundreds of K just within like 48 hours. And now we've got them all back again.
But yeah, the gems still are cheap. Sell the gems. And normal takes an hour.
Yeah. And GDKPs, like do GDKP, like that's the thing. You go in a GDKP, not only do you get the gold from the cut, you also then get the gems to sell at the end. True. It's like, I just don't see the point of doing anything else.
Once SoD is done, that would be my plan. Like when I start dabbling in Cata a little bit, I'm just going to blast GDKPs. Kind of get the feel of what I want to play and make some gold. That's my favorite part about actual Classic, not the fake versions of Classic that they've now taken GDKP out of.
Oh, I don't know. I GDKP. I like GDKPs, and I've done them since TBC. But SoD, I'm not sure if it was a success or not, but I've got an axe geared character, and I've come back now, and that rail system. Even me, if I want to do molten core, I benefit from it. And I feel the pug system in SoD right now feels great to me. I don't know. I don't think the game's had better pugging.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But I personally I'm a major GDKP fan. I truly believe that like TBC and Wrath wouldn't have lasted, and even Cata to this point wouldn't have half the player count or raid logs that it does without GDKP. Like GDKP, in my opinion, like prolongs how long people are staying and playing alts. And like I know people who won't even play SoD or Anniversary because GDKP isn't in it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of completely deters them, and that's a lot of people. But for me, it makes it so that I will play more characters and I will log on to the game more. If there's GDKP, like that to me is the major selling point to get me to play MoP, right? Once SoD is over. Even Anniversary, like when it does go into TBC, I love TBC, so obviously I'm going to play it. But without GDKP, I mean, towards the end of TBC Classic, I was running like 5 or 6 GDKPs a week on all my 70s. I was having a blast. I was just raking in gold. I was running them myself. Like we made little communities out of it. Basically, like we formed like small guilds. Yeah, that pugs that like then became like a set group every week, and it was just fun. You know what I mean? And that is just major. Like that is one thing I am looking forward to when I start dabbling in the end of Cata and into MoP. Like I can't wait to do GDKPs again. I've been missing it so much.
It's still good that they've got two versions of the game to contrast. SoD, I think, has, especially recently, the pug scene in it is amazing.
It is great.
Imagine how good it's been with the rail system and all that. The amount of return players to SoD is crazy. Whereas we're not seeing that with GDKPs and Cata. You'd think it'd be massive with MoP.
Yeah. See, I've always been the same when it comes to GDKPs. I just haven't got a strong opinion. Like, and I've always said the same. My tune has never changed on all the episodes of this podcast. While they're there, I'll do them. If they remove them, I couldn't care less. I'm not like, oh my god, we have to have GDKPs. I get why people don't like them, and I also get why people like them. But while they're there and they pay for my sub and I don't have to, it's just a no-brainer for me. I do one GDKP, and that pays for both of my accounts for a month. So I get to raid for a few hours on a Saturday afternoon, and that saves me £20 on 2 subs.
I haven't paid for my America account. I haven't paid for it yet.
There's no reason not to even just to do one GDKP a month purely for that, and then any others that I squeeze in is then just all gold going towards MoP. There's
a typical
no
GDKP payout, Scotty, in Cata right now.
50K.
Oh my god! Wow.
The token is only 20, So
yeah, tokens like 18, 20 on NA. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you're not kidding. So 1 token is 2 months of game time and then some.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's just there's
nice.
even for it to pay for your SoD account. Do you know what I mean? Like, you do a GDKP a month, then that pays for SoD just for you doing a few hours of raiding on Cata a week. Like, it's just to me, it's a no-brainer. But but sorry, I do want to just touch on that just in case anyone thinks that that's how it actually works. But there is no personal loot system in Mr. Pandaria. As in, there is, but only LFR. Like, there's no actual personal loot option. World bosses, LFR, that's personal loot, but you can't physically go in a raid and toggle personal loot on. So it won't affect GDKPs at all. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Cool. Well, at least we've got 2 questions in. 2 questions super chatted in for the next Q&A break. Well, technically a third now. The really annoying thing is not only do I get to see him once on my teleprompter, once in OBS, I get him a third time because Gho keeps messaging me him on Discord, which is amazing. I know
thought we were holding him up for the
good.
Q&A section, so I was keeping him up there for you.
It's good. Keep doing it. Right. Okay. So prep. So we spoke about gold. So gold, yes. Everybody wants as much gold as possible going into MoP because some key things that you're going to want: Dark Moon card trinkets, world BOEs to get the highest item level possible before you go into your first raid, if you take PvE seriously. The mount, there's mounts. Every exalted reputation's got a bloody mount. So there's a lot, and obviously you also need to pay to be able to fly in Pandaria, and who knows, they might add a tomb of flying as well for alts. There's going to be a lot of gold sinks early on. GDKPs are not banned in Cata, no. But what? So general prep outside of gold. Have you got any advice for these 2 Nulti other than making gold? What could they do?
Again, no, honestly, just play the game. I plan personally myself. I plan to have a fresh level 85 Warlock during pre-patch because I want to play the pre-patch. Like Scotty knows this. I have a Warlock sitting there, haven't touched it. I'm going to re-roll the Warlock in the pre-patch just to play the game because, again, it's one of those phases where people are going to come back and there's going to be stuff to do on pre-patch and there's going to be so many runs. Like I can't wait to do tier 11 again because people are probably going to do it because they're going to be smashed. Like I remember I did that with TBC with my Warlock. I kept the Warlock till the end, and then you just geared up during the pre-patch. It's super quick. Hopefully, I'll not have to do a Twilight. Hopefully.
I don't think you can escape those at this point.
But I'm going to choose not to do them. But again, that's what I would advise. Just go do Twilights, and you'll be ready to pump in MoP. Professions, you know what professions are like. You stockpile a load of them.
That's what I
stockpile
do,
mats. Yeah, mats as well. Like I'm probably going to do tailoring, so I'll probably just like keep a load of ebb and weave and just get like the next 25 skill on day 1.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up the new. Probably within day 1 we'll be able to pick up the new back enchant, which is going to be massive for the heroic grind. Even if you don't change your gear, you can get an extra 500 intellect. Silly things like that. Which all the normal basic stuff is what I'd be doing. I'd probably not going to go half as hard as what Scotty would do. Cap your quest log, all that stuff.
Oh gosh, don't remind me about
on
that
3
whole
months.
shit,
I'll be doing
dude.
that.
Oh, the spreadsheets of all the quests, how much XP they give. Oh,
I've already got
system to turn the quest in. Holy shit, it's going again.
Yeah, I've already started mine. Well, when I say started, I've already got the 25 quests that I want stacked up.
So that might be a gold farm right there. What quests are like the items that you're turning in for to hold on to?
Well,
like sometimes there's quests that's like turn in 20 of this item, but you don't have to actually like hold that as part of your quest thing. Are there any of those?
Yes,
that you're thinking of. Yeah. See, there's the gold farm right there is selling those items for those quests.
And even obviously having this item starts a quest, those types of ones to keep in your bank as well. There's plenty of those still. But I just want to throw a couple in as well. Obviously, mainly for people that are going monks, obviously like me. something that I'm doing personally for my monks, and I keep saying monks because it is for all three. Obviously, profession kits, but mine's a bit different. As in, I'm having profession kits for when I'm 90, not when I'm 85, because like my main's going to be herb and scribe at launch, because then obviously I'll drop herbalism and inscription once my other characters are established, as in my farming character. But having like an engineering kit or a blacksmithing kit, whatever you need for your monks ready, and getting like items, which again I've already been doing, getting all those really strong blue items between level, like 20 and 85 with big boy enchants on, ready for when you're leveling. Obviously, I'm going to be trying to zoom on the monk. I want to get them. Like, I've got to do 3 of them. So for me, it's about getting them to 85 during the pre-patch as quickly as physically possible. And when you're picking up blue items that are like 4 gold off the auction house, and then putting a big enchant on from like TBC or something like that, they're just things that I would think about if you're getting ready for monk in the pre-patch specifically. Big items that you can pick up that are just going to make leveling quicker, stacking up on so many swiftness potions that you can almost just macro them into your abilities. So you're running around with as much uptime on swiftness potions as possible. I know it all sounds like over the top stuff, but obviously, I've got to do 3 of them, so I want to do them as quick as possible. So I'm going a little bit overboard. Obviously,
that's the shit that makes pre-patch unreal, though. Like, that stuff doesn't happen outside of pre-patch. All that craziness. Like, I can't wait to do a 25-man raid with 24 monks and me.
Yeah, 24 monks and a warlock.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to be geared. I want to be in there with all the scrubs.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Pre-patch is going to be fun. And then collecting pets is the only other one I want to touch on. Obviously, there's some decent pets that you'll be able to get not specifically during the pre-patch, but from the pre-patch onwards that you can't get now. And there's ones that you can get now that you should be working on if you're interested in pet battles. But outside of that, prep-wise, probably about it.
Well, we have the collection tab this time round, though. It wasn't in MoP, was it?
No.
Or maybe
no.
Did it come in MoP?
Not like the retail collection tab that we've got.
Like the retail one, now that we have that, it's actually crazy good to prep all that side stuff.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys, for Nelty or Scotty. If I were to switch to playing Hunter, what would my BIS professions be if I wanted to prep those?
Ooh, and pet, because pets are probably still important too.
Yeah, I think the professions are pretty tight. I really don't think there's much like crazy min-maxing to do for MoP. I'd probably just go engineering though, just because I'm a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You get all the extra gadgets. Engineer is actually quite good for challenge modes because you get the belt of invisibility as well. Yeah, that'd be the only one I would think of. Okay. The professions are quite tight, min-max wise, aren't they? There's no real standout ones.
Yeah, it kind of depends what you're wanting to do. As in, like, if you're wanting to do push challenge modes early and fast, then going in with like engineering alchemy will be amazing. If it's more for raiding, then like engineering, I mean, you can stick anything with it, but like engineering blacksmithing for the extra 2 sockets is going to be nice. I would lean more towards going engineering inscription, because the difference between scribe and blacksmith is going to be tiny for a hunter. And you've got another scribe for a daily cooldown that you're going to make just passive gold with. But yeah, like what we said, obviously it's all of it's close, but engineering is almost like non-negotiable.
Okay.
Yeah, like Stark said, they're engineering with anything else.
Just not a gathering profession, yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's I'd say that's MoP prep in a nutshell. I can't really think of a great deal else that you can do right now, but there's going to be tons to do during the pre-patch to get ready for MoP launch. Oh, yeah. And part of that is going to be the whole quest stacking, and whether you do that or not is up to you. But I will be, because I'm sad.
Oh no, fuck that. No way. Not doing none of that. Have you ever tried to just play the game?
Me?
When it comes out? Yeah. Instead of playing it now, play it when it comes out.
No, that seems stupid. I'll play it when it comes out, but I'll play it when it comes out about 9 or 10 bars already in towards the next level. Not that like the last time in Cata, it made practically no difference whatsoever. It was like running around and doing all the quest handing literally barely put me in front of people that just went straight to Hydra and started questing. Like it was so negligible that maybe I don't do it. We'll see. I still will, just because it's something to do and I like having things to do in Cata.
I would argue that stuff is still better to do, because what really happens, and I think it's going to happen in MoP, is we're all going to get stuck at one quest. And then, you've already got half a level's worth of experience done while we're all sitting there stuck.
Yeah, and they're probably going to break the gunship that goes over to MoP as well. Yeah, that's probably not going to work. Like,
they'll just teleport you over.
Yeah, there'll be a portal.
Yeah, that takes you straight to the first camp.
In Dragonflight. In Dragonflight, we all had to get a portal on that big boat, remember?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. I think the portal's still there.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you can still teleport straight to Borean Tundra now, or even in Cata, can't you?
That's right. Yeah.
You don't even need to get on the Zeppelin still. It's like, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it does worry me when there's such a choke point of actually starting the expansion with how busy, particularly our server is as well. It's going to be interesting. Everyone getting on that gunship and loading into MoP for the first time. I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing. Okay.
I know you're trying to move it on, Scott. Just one more thing to tie into SoD about the same issue is we're about to have everybody going into Tyr's Hand. Do you know how big Tyr's Hand is in Classic? It's not a big zone, and we're gonna have everybody going in there next phase on launch. It seems like it's gonna be a big fucking bottleneck there too. I don't know.
Isn't everyone already there for next? Like we're already there.
We're in Eastern Plaguelands, yes, but Tyr's Hand is a tiny little zone.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
There'll just be about 8,000 layers.
Yeah.
Wait, is it the one? Is it the one to the right of in Eastern Plaguelands, or are we talking about the one up north and western?
No, in Eastern Plaguelands, the southeast of Eastern Plaguelands. Yeah. So yeah, just bottleneck. Just point out a similar bottleneck.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't imagine it's going to be that much lag. What's there going to be? Like 4 people there? Well, 5. I mean, maybe Hammer's going to go there as well. Like, but there's hardly anyone going to be
on
there.
On 2 accounts. So yeah, that's.
yeah. That's 2 people multi-boxing plus Hammer.
We're going to be guaranteed that you're going to be there holding Inform's hand.
Oh. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be waiting for a summon.
Yeah,
I'll be waiting for a summon from Inform's 4 characters that are stood there with the summoning stone up. Right, we've got one more MoP topic. Which has kind of worked out nicely because we're about 2 hours in. Then we'll have an hour for SoD, and anyone who's got 0 interest in Season of Discovery, you'll be free to go. Because we've just got one more proper Cata/MoP related, and then we'll actually do the Q&A with the questions. So you got about 5-10 minutes if you want to super chat any more questions. Preferably not all coming from the same person who wants to. Oh no, it was Chunk who wants to know why Gho's so attractive, but we'll get to that in a minute. Genetics. So, how hard are the raids? Now, I appreciate that really it's only going to be Nolty and me on this one, but how hard are the raids in MoP compared to Cataclysm? This is something that I've been asked a lot, and I think we'll, instead of saying Cataclysm, Nolty, let's say how hard are the raids in MoP compared to Dragon Soul? That's usually because that's at least fresh in everyone's mind, isn't it?
I don't think they're that much harder. I think they are harder in terms of being a player, like an individual player. But as a group killing them, I think they're around the same difficulty. I said that because MoP gives us all these like movement abilities, and min-maxing is going to be a little bit tighter and stuff like that. But yeah, I think they're about the same difficulty. I haven't done much TOT. So I'm hoping like Leishen and stuff are super hard. I haven't seen that last boss, from Terrace. But so far, from what I've experienced, it feels reasonably around the same difficulty. I don't think there's really a jump in skill at all, other than learning your class, which is going to be a little harder.
I did that first raid with you guys on the MoP server. I think I did it on normal once, and I might have done a few pulls on heroic. And it was the same type of shit. It's just don't stand in this spot. Move here at this time of the fight, and you can collect your boss loot.
Yeah, it feels like player skill is going to be a lot more diverse rather than boss difficulty.
It seemed like tank positioning was still like the most important thing, I would say, in at least that raid.
Motion vaults for sure is you're going to see
Vaults,
the bad tanks fall over. There's a new system with diminishing return with what's it called where they put up their armor or whatever.
What are you talking about?
I'm just trying to think of the mechanic that it's called. You know what the tanks get, where they put up their defensives. No.
Oh, active mitigation.
Active mitigation, yeah. So good tanks are going to fall. Good tanks are going to be infinitely better than bad tanks. And that could kill a couple of your raids for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. Anyway, yeah. I think really when you break down the MoP bosses, there's the mechanically it's not like it's out of control. It's not like going into retail where there's just things going off all over the place, stack for this, spread for that, move out with this, move in with that. There's still only limited mechanics on each boss. I think some of them are unforgiving, but I could sit here and just go through all the bosses, and quite honestly, there's only one or two mechanics that are difficult with any of them. Like they're not flooded with mechanics. And I genuinely think that some of the harder ones are actually like they might seem harder, but it's because people are not using their toolkit. Every class has got a much bigger toolkit. You've got even in a 10-man, you've got so much more raid utility now in terms of raid cooldowns and everything that you might be like, shit, like there's so much damage. Like this is so much harder than Cata raiding, but it's actually not. It's just there can be more damage now because there are more raid cooldowns. So I think you have to be a bit more organized than you do in Cata. In Cata, it's kind of like, there might be one place where you need to use cooldowns and you'll have a little rotation of cooldowns, whereas in MoP, it is very much like you're cycling them a lot more often, and you've got all of those tools at your disposal when you need to use them. But the bosses themselves, mechanically, I only want to talk about the first phase anyway. I don't want to start talking about Throne of Thunder, Siege of Orgrimmar, nothing like that. Just focusing purely on Heart of Fear, Mogoshon Vaults, and Terrace. I think Mogoshon Vaults is a really good entry raid with some really, really fun bosses, actually. I think Heart of Fear is memorably unmemorable with actually some overly punishing bosses. Like bosses that are actually very, very difficult for no reason at all, because they're really boring fights. And then Terrace is really good, actually. Terrace is a fantastic raid. I've got nothing really bad to say about Terrace. But they're all still...
Halling's going to get me a new fighting.
Should tier 14 be staggered? We can talk about that in a sec. The skill floor is raised in MoP. I'd agree. I think, as I say, I don't think the raids or the bosses are particularly I don't think they're really a step up in difficulty massively from Dragon Soul. Like 0% Dragon Soul. I don't think any boss in tier 14 you would say is drastically harder. I just think actually the classes are harder to play on the most part. Sure. You've got a bigger toolkit. You've got more buttons to press. Which then can make the boss seem harder, but it's actually not. But go on, Nolty. Let's cover the whole staggered tier release. I mean, Haddin, I expect better from you. You could have at least super chatted that question, couldn't you? Because now we're doing an early Q&A, and you're getting special treatment, which I don't like. But go on, Nolty, your thoughts.
I wouldn't stagger them. I would release them all in one go and have us progress them when we feel like progressing them, which would be obviously day one or as soon as we can possibly get in there. That's the way I would do it. Because I think it'd be super hard. I think going into them like even Heart of Fear, we did Heart of Fear on the servers that we do now speak of, and we did it normal like first week with some mushroom false gear. It was really fucking hard. It was actually hard. It was like there was proper gear checks in there. I just feel like if they stagger them, in my opinion, we're gonna outgear them, kind of like we did with with Twilights coming out in Dragon Soul, we were just, compared to the PTR in Dragon Soul, we were infinitely stronger on retail, and you could see that, and especially the first 6 bosses, we just wrecked it.
So, well, how did the staggering work back in the day? Wasn't it like 2 weeks in between? So, like, Moshogun Vaults came out, and then 2 weeks later, Heart of Fear came out, or whatever
I think
that
it could have been longer.
Yeah, it might have been 3 or 4 weeks. I've got that all down somewhere, but off the top of my head, it was a few weeks between each. But obviously, back then, you also had the whole doing normal for a week before you could even do heroic. So that changed it, and then also. But it was only between MSV and Hoth and Terrace. So Heart of Fear and Terrace launched at the same time, but you couldn't do Terrace without clearing Heart of Fear. So even though they both launched at the same time, you couldn't go straight into Terrace. You had to do Heart of Fear and kill the last boss first.
I could probably go for that. Like, I think that might be okay. Because Moshogun Vault has no tier in it or anything. It's kind of a standalone anyway. I could maybe go for that maybe.
Because if Blizzard ends up doing an event, which they've done for the past 2, they did one for Wrath, they did one for Kata for like the race to world first. I know people meme on it and say it's already been fucking cleared 10 years ago. This is not the race to world first. It's still different. It's in a different patch state.
I don't even remember that, did they? Like, so Nax or Ramos had a race to world first in Wrath.
Did they? I think they had to do Nax, Sarth, and Malagos. Yeah. But they had an event beforehand too. It was like the Undying event or whatever, where it was just like you had one lockout of heroics to get geared, and then it was like
that's cool.
a 10-player Nax run. Maybe that's what that event was. But yeah, like if they had them all open on week 1 or delayed a week after launch, so that they could have like a race to world first through all 3 of them, and you had to do them in order. Then I think that'd be cool. Because for Kata, it got fucked because that one boss and the big worm boss was fucked. So people that went to that raid first, like, fell behind until that boss got fixed. While people went to the other raids in tier 11 and cleared those first, had the advantage for the race. So if they all had to go to the same raid to begin with, if that was bugged, then they wouldn't have a disadvantage before they could move on to the next one. I know I scuffed up the names of the raids there. I apologize, but I hope you guys know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Tier 11's been a long time for me. A long time ago.
I mean, so Nolty knows I would prefer it staggered. But at the same time, I'm not that precious. Like, if they were all out at the same time, then fine. I just actually think for the health of the game, it would be a healthier experience for everybody overall, not just the top 1% that are going to speed through all the bosses because they've been doing them on private servers, day in, day out for the 6 months prior. I actually think for the overall population of the game, it would be better that we got Mogoshun Vaults first. Let them 6 bosses just breathe for a few weeks and let people get almost like pre-Heart of Fear geared, pre-Biss for that, and then release Hoth and Terrace, and that's it. Because again, Mogoshun Vaults has got no tier, like Nolty said, it's got no tier gear, so it kind of don't hurt that it's there on its own for a few weeks for people to experience it and a nice warm up to raiding, and then really the tier properly starts with Heart of Fear. So you could even look at Mogoshun Vaults as a bit of pre-raid gearing more, because you're not going to get any set bonuses or anything. I'd go either way, but I would prefer staggered. And again, it's not even for me personally. I couldn't give 2 fucks. As in, if they all launch at the same time, we're gonna raid all week until they're cleared. But like, it's as simple as that. It doesn't matter to me whatsoever. But I think for other people, for the health of the game, there's so much to do. Like, people are going to want to level ults. People are going to want to do challenge modes. People are going to want to get pre-raid Biss on multiple characters. And then you throw all of those bosses into the mix when you've got pet battles, dailies, reputations. Like, there is just so much thrown at you at launch that I think throwing a massive tier of content like that in all at once as well could just be a bit too much. And that's not like
as an outsider. As an outsider, I will agree with you on that. Would be super overwhelming for me to jump in and to that amount of content.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
What about the normal and heroic? Should you be able to do because they removed that shit, right? Like
go straight into
heroic, right? There's no 1 week delay.
Yeah, I don't think we should have that. Oh, yeah, I don't think there should ever be that.
We can agree there. Okay.
Yeah, straight into heroic. Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's any rush to get through MoP. I'd like to just see it slowed down a bit, but again, that's very biased because I really like MoP. You know, but I'm also, for anybody who's watched this podcast ever, I'm not that guy that wants to gatekeep content or slow content down or make content easier. Like that is not me. But I just think in this one instance, it actually makes sense to slow it down a little bit, just because of the amount of shit that we get at launch. Thanks for all the super chats that have come in. We are going to go to the Q&A very shortly, before we get onto the SoD stuff, and I think that's about it. I mean, there was a couple of comments in chat from like Stark and Lee that have said about like Amber Shaper, being difficult.
Amber Shaper.
Yeah, it's again, I wouldn't say it's difficult when you understand the mechanics. It might be tight, but then so is Spine. Spine on paper is not a difficult fight, but in reality, it actually is. And Amber Shape is the same. I mean, interrupt yourself when you're blowing up. Keep the stacks up on the boss when you get people below 90%. Like it's all pretty standard things that you need to do, but you need everybody to know exactly what they're doing. But I no doubt Amber Shaper will be a long prog fight.
But I play a Warlock. 3 buttons is 2 buttons too many.
Yeah, that's true.
It should be Shadow Bolt on single target and Seed on multi, right?
Mate, I can't wait to play a TBC Warlock again.
Yeah, dude, the big seeds.
Yeah, man.
I feel like Zambi and Chunk are just throwing super chat question in after super chat question. Does anyone else want to get any super chat questions in? And we're going to go to the Q&A because we've actually got some to answer. And it looks like there's some stupid ones and some serious ones. So thank you guys for getting your questions in. You've got until we finish the last question before we move on to SoD. So if you want to get anything in, now's the time. Right, go on, go. You can read them and I'll find them.
Yeah. All right. How would you feel if they banned GDKP and MoP like they did in SoD? And hopefully we can all agree here that it would be a terrible idea and the player base would fall off and everybody would stop playing MoP, right? Like I think that's how we're all feeling.
That's what I believe.
I would be really upset to have to pay Blizzard another £9 in dollars.
Yeah. Actual currency, yeah.
I think it's just too late. It's too late to be able to do that. I was going to say,
taking that away now it really would destroy the game.
I don't think it would destroy the game, personally. I don't think anyone would really care.
I think a lot of people would care.
Yeah, I know. I said that, then instantly he's over. Like, what?
People are getting 50K payouts. Like, imagine like someone coming in and just being like, "Oh, I remember MoP. I love MoP. I'm gonna try and play MoP," and they go into MoP, and people are walking around with like 5 gold caps, and there's no longer GDKPs. Yeah. These people have no chance of
the
catching up without just buying tokens.
Same happened in SoD, just with them invasions. The fact that the market just flew off.
Yep, that's exactly the example I was going to give. Is that like once that gold is there, and we even had GDKPs in Phase 1 of SoD, and like I had people in level 25 BFD paying 800 gold for the staff off Kelris, and like that was insane. The amount of gold going around was crazy, and then to just rip it away, it's like it feels bad in my opinion. It's like it's almost like a huge nerf to the gameplay.
The bonus roll comment there from Stark's interesting as well, though, isn't it, in MoP with GDKPs? You go in a GDKP and then an item drops that you want, but you bonus roll it. That's like, one less person bidding on that item. It's not going to kill GDKPs, but it could actually start to really affect the profit.
How would that work? How does that work?
Well, you can get 3 bonus rolls a week, where basically if you kill a boss, let's say it's a boss that drops a staff that you want on your warlock, you can use one of your bonus rolls, and there's a chance that you'll receive any item from its loot pool for your specialization. So let's say you was in a GDKP and you saw the staff drops off the boss, and then you bonus rolled the staff. Now that staff could go to DE if you was the only person that was willing to buy it. So like it will actually naturally have a bit of a knock-on effect.
Can you hide your loot? Like, can you hide your bonus roll loot, or are people going to be able to see it? Because
people are seeing
it. People know you get it. Yeah.
So you're saying people using bonus rolls hurts the GDKP pot?
Yep.
Yeah, could
sure,
do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Imagine you get the best trinket from a bonus roll.
Right.
Someone's banned for 300k.
Oof.
Well,
you know,
maybe there'd be a rule where if you got a bonus loot item, you would have to pay a minimum amount for it, and then if you don't pay that amount, then you just don't get the cut.
Yeah, I think that's actually what'll happen. Like, you'll have to pay a min bid for an item.
Or they don't allow bonus rolls in GDKPs. They're just like,
that'd be a waste of money, wouldn't it?
Everybody bonus rolls the last boss or something.
No, they always take the money option, so they'll have like a minimum bid. Let's say our minimum bid at the minute is 20k. If you win an item, you pay the pot 20k. Simple.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the item is.
Yeah, it'd put me off going.
Yeah, that would put me off doing it, because imagine you bonus roll something absolutely dogs and you have to pay the pot.
And you got to
20K.
pay, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I just wouldn't use bonus rolls in GDKP if there was something like that. Like, no chance. All right, next question.
Chunk, I have a question. Why is Gho so attractive? I DM'd him about this, and we've got something set up to meet later on. Yeah. Is Wipe Inc. GDKP win? Asked Zambi.
Yeah,
I thought you guys were setting up a GDKP, right? For
we've got it all set up on Discord and everything. Yeah, we just never done anything with it. But yeah, MoP will be doing GDKPs. I definitely want us having a Wipe Inc. GDKP team. So anyone on Mancrick that wants to come and carry us, that'd be great.
All right, and then Zambi again. We've got, is this where we plug that Wipe Inc. on Mancrick Horde is recruiting for 25-man runs starting this Sunday, going through to MoP?
No, this is definitely
not.
That
here?
No, we don't. No, we're already getting far too many applications for my liking. It's too much admin work. No, we don't plug that here.
Does Zombie know that we kicked him from the team?
Does Zombie know he got kicked from the guild?
Did he just advertise a guild we're kicking him from?
Yeah, he's advertising his old guild. Nice of him, really.
Yeah.
Advertising his replacement.
Good lad, Zombie. Thank you very much.
Next. Wait, how important is the farm, and can you explain how it works as someone who has played MoP but never done the farm? So you can grow your own shit in one of the zones and tend to your farm.
You don't grow shit.
Back and you don't grow anything? You don't actually grow anything in your farm?
Well, no, you don't grow shit. You grow like herbs and stuff.
Yeah. You use the shit to grow as a fertilizer. Yeah.
Yeah. Noel, do you want to take this? Obviously, conscious that I keep just fucking taking every question.
Yeah, well, I don't do most of that stuff a lot of the time, but it is pretty cool. Basically, it combined with cooking's pretty fun. You just plant flowers and you get rewards. One of the rewards I particularly like, which is kind of good for like professions like tailoring, is you can actually plant motes of harmony, and basically you get them once a day, what's the actual time? Is it 12 hours? There's an actual timer on it if you want them in max. I think it's 12 hours. And yeah, cooking supplies, stuff that's very expensive as well. It's going to be a really, really good way to make gold. There's like very specific, like getting 300 primary stat food is literally going to be gated by both cooking dailies and silly little things like carrots. Carrots will be super expensive. I know that much. But Scotty would probably do more of that to me.
You can get pets from tillers, yeah, but not for becoming like best friends with. I can't remember her name, but one of them. There's people all around the tiller's farm that you raise reputation with, and yeah, as you expand your farm, you eventually take the farm over as your own. and then you find gifts out in the open world in like dark soil that you loot, and you hand those into specific NPCs around Attila's farm, which you build rep up with, and one of them does actually have a pet reward for becoming best friends with her. I just can't remember her name off the top of my head. But yeah, in general, it is growing and having an army of alts with literally parked at the farm. Like, you won't even move your characters; they'll be at the farm, and you will literally just till and do all the soil, plant, and just get shit every day. And it will mainly be Motes of Harmony to begin with, but once you're having less and less reason for Spirits of Harmony, you will start moving more over to food-based stuff, and you can even plant enchanting mats. Like any like herbs, mines, enchanting mats, like you skinning materials, like all of that. But that comes from obviously progressing through with Tilla's reputation. But yeah, as I say, there like Nolte said, 300 food is going to be important as well. But Motes early on, Spirits of Harmony early on is going to be huge.
Chunk was responding earlier about the raids opening staggered or all at once, and somebody did agree with me. Chunk says he wants them all at once, and he likes other things all at once too. If they stagger them, it will make it awkward for people who want to go for the good world/server rankings that work and need to schedule their time off. And yeah, that's been a thing. Time off if an announcement is late for a tier release or something like that, then it's hard to schedule that sometimes. So yeah, I sympathize with those people that care about the game enough to take leave from work and do the content.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. As I say, we covered all that. Like there's pros and cons to both, to having it staggered, to having it all launch at once. There is pros and cons. And which way it goes, for Blizzard, it's probably easier just to launch it all at once. My gut would say that that's what they're going to do, but I still actually hope it's staggered. Like that. That's what I would do.
All right, Zambi said they should they pull a SoD and add mythic difficulty to all the raids out the gate, or just wait for siege? Thoughts?
No, I wouldn't trust them to do that. That's my honest answer.
That was pre-patch, though, right?
Yeah, WoD pre-patch is when it went to Mythic 20, man.
Yeah, that's a WoD. That's a WoD thing, not really Mist Pandaria.
Yeah, the one thing I'd like to see, while we're just on the topic of raiding in general, is what I said in a video recently, with normal raiding being flex and then heroic being its own difficulty. If they changed anything, that's the one thing I would have liked to have seen personally.
Yeah, I would like it to go up to 30 as well.
Yeah, up to 30, definitely. Instead of, because obviously flex is just 10 to 25. But having normal as 10 to 30, and then heroic is the fixed difficulty where you only run 10 or 25 people. I think that would be great. I think for social, casual guilds, I just think being able to take everyone and do normal content and get decent gear rather than flex gear where it's actually lower item level, it's only just above LFR. It's a great system, but shit rewards for doing it. So yeah. I just think normal. Like take some inspiration from SoD, take some inspiration from retail. It works.
SoD's actually the best example of it. The fact that you can just take more people to the raid than Blizzard recommend is unreal. I love it. Like I put a raid roster out every Monday. I'm sitting here being like, what's the point? I'm just gonna take everyone.
Yeah. It's like you just got a minimum number. You don't really have like the maximum until you get to that max of 40. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they should do. Like the minimum for normal is 10 people. The maximum will be 30, which you'll probably rarely reach unless you're one of these massive guilds that are running like 30-man split normals for, stacking people, which, that's fine. But that's what I would do. But I wouldn't trust them to tune Mythic. No.
I think their version of Mythic would just be pre-nerf versus post-nerf. Like they would launch post-nerf, and then the Mythic would be pre-nerf.
They'd just take your Sage Slimes and add that mechanic to all of the bosses in Mr. Pandaria.
Add them into challenge modes.
Yeah. That's what they'd do. Go on,
Zambi with another one. Yep. Are you going to create a sort of chore list for daily end game stuff? Because they removed the daily quest cap in MoP. So is there going to be like a list of things you have to tend to your garden for one thing? You got to do dailies in certain places. You got to get tokens for your bonus rolls.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think it's more weekly things, and they're like MoP doesn't change so drastically in terms of what the sort of things that you need to do on a week by week basis. Yeah, like if you want to do your farm every day, cool. But really, you're still just valor capping, making sure you get 50 charms a week to get your 3 bonus rolls. That's it. Literally. Oh, and kill the world bosses. Depending on what phase of content you're in, kill whichever world bosses are currently the relevant world bosses. But there's nothing like outside of that, you know. Daily wise, if you want to do dailies, do them. But assuming that we get the reputations in their 5.4.8 state, which it don't make sense to add them any other way, there's none of that doing 50 dailies a day like we had to do during 5.1. Like it's not a thing.
Yeah, I remember the dailies in the original MoP being completely overwhelming. But on the private server this time, I did fucking none of them. I'm doing heroic content just fine.
Yeah, well, you don't need to. And like Pal Thuran that's just said there, Golden Lotus daily rep grind again is going to be fun. Like there won't be no such thing. You'll just go and farm Mogu in Vale of Eternal Blossoms with a raid group, and you'll be exalted in about 2 hours. Like all of those daily quests, well, not all the daily quests. There's still the hub down over on the west side of Vale of Eternal Blossoms that you can go and do, where you go in like the ring and fight all the aspirants and all of that. But it changed. Like Vale of Eternal Blossoms changed completely, where you got the rares that you can go around and kill, and the dailies weren't important anymore, and everything in Val gave Golden Lotus rep. They like literally completely overhauled Golden Lotus rep, and there's absolutely no way Blizzard will have, because Blizzard have like they had to rebuild Classic 2019 from scratch, right? That not from scratch, but they had to put a lot of effort in. Whereas with like Cata, MoP, WoD, Legion, they've got the final patch builds. Like they've actually got them all how they was, and they said that in an interview. I think it was of IGN actually. So there's no way they're going to reverse engineer from 5.4.8 and go back and take rares out and put dailies in, and they're not going to do it. Like we'll get it in the final patch state the way the reputations were, and rightfully so. It changed because it was shit. That's the thing. Like no one wants the reputations how it was in 5.0. Trust me, no one, not one single person.
I know a guy.
It's too much. What, Go?
No, I know a guy, and he just loved 5.0, doing the dailies every day. I know him. He's watching the stream now. I can be guaranteed of it. Psycho.
Yeah. Where he can download a 5.0 repack and install it and do solo player MoP on his own.
Solo play. Yeah, do you know what? I'm not even joking. He'd probably enjoy that.
Okay. Yeah, but that about covers that.
Chunk. Yep. Chunk was asking opinion on splitting the lockout for normal and heroic like it is on retail, where you can do both.
Let you take it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nolte.
Yeah, absolutely. Loot doesn't mean anything these days. It really doesn't. Like for the high end players, one extra week of normal gear is going to mean nothing. But for everybody else, double the content. No brainer to me. I would do that to Cata right now.
Okay. All right. I would say yes, but if they done normal as flex, that for me that would be the only reason to do it. If they done normal as a flex difficulty where you could do 10 to 30, then that means you can take all the boys in for a normal clear, but then you can go and do your serious groups for heroic. You know, that would be the perfect raid system in MoP for me. And I know I just sound like I'm repeating myself now, but yeah, having flex where you can take everyone in the guild and just go and have a fun raid, but then you haven't got to choose between having that fun raid or doing serious heroic raiding. You know, so yes, I would want it split if there was flex raiding. If there's not flex raiding, I don't really see the point. Because you're either with a group that's good enough to do heroic, or you're changing it on a boss by boss basis because some of them are too difficult to kill on heroic. Because I'd just keep it how it is. But if it's flex, I'd definitely have them split.
I'd just rather we'd be able to do 10 and 25 instead of normal and heroic of the same raid.
Oh, I'd like that.
Size.
Yeah,
just give me that. Like they gave us with Baird and Hold. I think it was an accident where you can actually do 10 and 25. Like I just much prefer that for the raids.
I don't think this Q&A session's going to stop. We're just getting more. We're getting more questions coming than we're getting through answering. Let's quick fire.
We need to get some SoD questions.
Yeah, we need to get some SoD. We need to get to SoD.
I'm sitting here like, man, I really know nothing about any of this stuff.
No, I'm trying to get us to SoD.
Yeah, if you want to super chat any more questions, and you can make them SoD related, so we can hear Hammer's beautiful voice, that would be fantastic. If you want to keep doing MoP ones to piss him off, obviously that's also quite fun. So.
Yeah, keep us on MoP for another hour with the questions. Zambi asked, "How do you feel about the Thunderforge RNG system?" And that's new to me. I've never heard of a Thunderforge RNG system.
It's dog shit.
Where is it from? Like, what is it referencing?
In Throne of Thunder, you can randomly proc a drop to just have like 9 extra item levels. Called
that
Thunderforge.
Sounds rough. Oh,
I don't know if it's 9. It could be less, but like you're doing heroic, your best item drops. It's not Thunderforge. Now you're upset about it. I'm not a fan.
It sounds like the random stats loot from like
it's worse than that.
Not Throne, but yeah, like you would get the item drop and it would just have the wrong secondary stats on it. It's like, well, now I got this piece, I guess.
It was Blizzard's way to nerf the raid without actually changing the raid. So like you farm the raid for 6 weeks in a row and you get an extra, couple of pieces with higher item level gear, and you can get over the hurdle of some bosses that you're stuck on.
I really like the like, it sounds great. Like, yeah, what? You can get an item that drops randomly and it's got 6. It's 6 item level, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's got 6 item levels higher. But it just makes everything a fucking nightmare. Like, it does more harm than good. Because, like, let's look at, say I was a Feral Druid and Rune of Reorigination drops. And I win it because it's just best for Feral Druid. And then the following week, a Thunderforge version of it drops. Well, I want the best version of it, and it's best for me, but it's not really fair that I then take a Thunderforge version. Now I've already got the regular version just for 6 item level, but it also don't make sense that the best version of it goes to someone who it's not as good for. It's shit. It feels great when you get a Thunderforged item, don't get me wrong. How I would do it, if it had to stay in the game, and that's a big if it had to stay in the game, because I would be a big advocate for it being removed completely. And that might not go down well with some people, because it does sound fun. Honestly, it sounds fun that you can randomly have items drop that have got a higher item level. In practice, on paper, it sounds great. In practice, it's fucking awful for everybody involved. But if they wanted to keep it in, I would have that you can only get Thunderforged gear from personal loot. So bonus rolls have got a chance to be Thunderforged, but that's it. The bosses cannot drop Thunderforged gear. When you use a bonus roll, you've got a chance at a Thunderforged item, but they do not drop from the bosses. And I'm not saying that's a perfect solution by any stretch of the imagination, but that at least removes the arguing over the Thunderforged items dropping or arguing over who should get it. And like it alleviates a lot of the problems that come with the Thunderforged system, at least. It's like, oh, great, you done a bonus roll and got, you got it with 6 item level extra. That I could live with it like that. But preferably, don't put it in the game.
I liked the Thunderforged gear when it would be from like a quest item, and then like your quest item would go from a green to an epic or something like that. But in the raid scenario, I don't care for it. But like you were saying, Scotty, that sounds like a decent compromise, at least, to have it just be personal loot. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's a perfect solution, by the way. Like, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's just it does cause a lot of issues.
I just fuck it off.
Yeah, just fuck it off. Just remove it. Get it out of here.
Yeah. The thing is, we could talk about that all day, but that's down the line. That's not even something that we need to worry about at the moment. That system doesn't come in until phase 3. We've got 2 phases. We've got pre-patch and 2 phases to get through before we even need to worry about what they do with that.
The next one came from Stark. Gold challenge modes ruined by previous phase catch-up gear, ? But since it's item level scaling, it shouldn't affect it, right?
What's that mean? Sorry.
Gold challenge modes ruined by previous phase catch-up gear.
I don't really know what you mean, Stark. You might have to give a bit of information on that. Well, yeah, because I don't know, how would previous phase catch-up gear affect gold challenge modes? I mean, if they put it into challenge modes. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So treating them like Twilight dungeons, so you can do gold challenge modes and get currency from them that you can then use to buy previous tier gear. Okay, makes sense. I don't know. What do you think, guys?
Fuck no.
I don't want to do gold challenge modes to begin with, so that would force me to do it, and I don't want to do it.
No, they made a perfect system that has only existed once. Just leave it the fuck alone. Oh, go get your transmog and never do challenge mode again, and that's okay.
Keep it separate.
Yeah,
if they want to do a
they're there
Twilight
for.
Dungeon too, then do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They'd build on the heroics and make like heroic plus in whatever way, shape, or form. But yeah, it'd be like gold challenge modes are evergreen throughout the entire expansion, aren't they? So, don't fuck with them. Don't fuck with something that works.
Yeah. It's okay for something to be over for an individual player. Like if I get all my challenge modes, I get my transmog, and I'm done with that content. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right, then this last one ties into that a little bit. Do you think they are going to add a protocol like they have in Cata? And should they? Why or why not?
No.
And
I think they will. Yeah, it's too easy for them. They just add some bullshit add-on to already existing dungeons, and there you go. Player base, get all the gear you want. I think they will, and I think they shouldn't. Especially, again, I'm not 100% sure about MoP, but in Cata, the catch-up systems were already in place. They should have done things like making the Fire Island, wherever the fuck that place is called, making that easily and more accessible to get that gear, rather than messing about with the dungeons. So, and Mr. Pandaria normal dungeons are all bad. So,
yeah,
they're a cakewalk.
I would say yes, they will, and yes, they should. Is what I would say. Mainly because I actually have seen the error of my judgments with previous additions with Protocol Twilights and Infernos. I've been saying for ages they're not needed in Cata and they shouldn't be added. But actually seeing how many people have got to experience Dragon Soul because of how easy it is to gear through Twilight Dungeons, I can't ever say that that's a bad thing, actually. And I think Throne of Thunder is one of those raids that no one's going to want to miss. If you enjoy WoW and you enjoy raiding, you don't want to miss Throne of Thunder, even if you miss the first tier of content. And I think actually being able to come back, towards the back end of Phase 2 before Phase 3, when Throne actually launches, and get stacked in gear pretty quick to experience Throne of Thunder, even if you only went and done it on normal, because it is a difficult raid. You're going to need gear to be able to go in. I think they will, and I think they should. It's just how they do it. I'd want it to, to be relevant content for a while. Like Twilights. Honestly, I can't fault them for what they've done with Twilights. I think actually the LFR gear coming from it was great. And if they just done that, where they added all the LFR gear from the first tier of content in MoP, added a couple of mechanics to the heroic dungeons, and you could just get full LFR gear before Throne. Boom, done. Easy.
All right, that was the last question from the super chats. Thank you to everybody that super chatted. We had Chunk, Zambi, and Stark. Thank you guys, legends. And now it's just we're moving on to SoD, right,
All
Scott?
right.
We're getting Hammer back involved in the conversation.
Me and Hammer are going to swap now. I'm going to look that way and go asleep, and you boys talk. You boys talk about
You're gonna
SoD.
rank up to 14.
I sat here crafting potions for the past hour. Since listening to you guys, everything's going way over my head.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
I gotta say one thing, Scotty, before we jump into SoD. After just hearing you guys talk about that for like the last hour, I want to know how you think Season of Discovery is confusing and convoluted, but that is not, because that was a lot of shit you guys just talked about.
Thank you.
Yeah,
there is like so many systems. Not saying any are good or bad, because I don't know. You know, I don't want to give my opinion on them, but that is like, it was a lot to try and understand and follow. And I'm like a WoW player, you know what I mean? I'm just not a Cata MoP player, but that's a lot of stuff, dude.
There is a lot that gets added, but it is really just an extension from Cata. You know, you're still getting justice points to get
right.
shit gear, and Valor to get good gear, and
yeah, like Cata to me still felt classic. You know what I mean? Like it was the same idea as like Wrath, and there was some new stuff, but like listening to you guys talk about all these MoP things, it sounds vastly different than Cata to me.
Yeah, I'm guessing it really we didn't even talk about item upgrades, mate. We didn't even like. There's something else. Oh, the legendary quest line. Yeah, we literally just scratched the surface. But I reckon we probably started losing you around the Thunder Forged item bits, because that is like just again, it's such a shit system. Like,
yeah,
that is convoluted and really like overly complicates gearing choices and loot distribution and all of that. So. But look, I don't want to talk about MoP anymore. Everybody that was here for MoP, I'm just going to be completely, blunt with you and say that's MoP. MoP's probably still going to get mentioned, like, because I'm not going to be able to help myself. I'm not going to be able to spend the next hour talking about just fucking Season of Disaster. I'm going to want to be throwing in MoP everywhere I can. But we've got a few topics we're going to cover in Season of Discovery now. We're going to be talking about things that we're most excited for, like for Phase 8. We've got expectations from the Scarlet Raid. So some of this might be interesting. At the end of the day, even as someone who's excited for MoP, we are going to be talking about like a new raid that none of us have seen before. You know, something Blizzard are actually trying to create a new raid in Classic. It is actually quite exciting, even for anti-SoD man here. So we're going to talk about the expectations from the Scarlet Raid and its life expectancy. That's the bit that I can't wait to talk about, because I can at least be really overly negative for no reason. Then we're going to talk about life after Phase 8. So what's going to happen next? Should the next project be a non-seasonal server, or should they keep experimenting and give us something new? And then there will be another Q&A break, which I don't think we're going to need, because there was only 3 people super chatting, and I'd imagine they've asked all the questions they can possibly think of. And then just anything else, if anyone's got anything, and then we're leaving. So you have got about 45 minutes maybe-ish to get any more super chat questions in directed at any or all of us, and we will cover them at the end. But I am going to shut the fuck up probably for the majority of this now, and Gho's taking the lead on the Season of Discovery shit.
Well, let me ship it right on over to Hammer, get him back in here in the conversation with regards to Phase 8 and what we're most excited for. Did you do any of the PTR? Because I hopped on there and I did a lot of stuff in preparation.
I am not a PTR game. I know all the stuff that was done on there, but I don't like doing it. I like doing it live. But we got, I mean, it's not a bunch of stuff, right? It's not as much as people are making it seem. It is a small batch of content, but the most important part about that is that it's new content. And I think that is, everyone has been crying for that the whole time, myself included. And I think, like Scotty just said, it's exciting because this stuff is just, it's new. We're going to see a new raid in Classic. Whether it's good or bad is to be determined, right? But either way, at least it shows that, you know, this wasn't all for nothing. Like, there is some new stuff coming out of this. And even before this phase coming, like, there has been some new good stuff that came out of SoD as well.
Nulty, anything that you picked up from the PTR or anything that you're excited for Phase 8?
No, I haven't done the PTR, to be honest with you. SoD to me is why arcade. So I don't want to test stuff. I want to just go in on that first day. I want to say to my boys, okay, what do we need to know? And I'm leading. I'm the leader of the squad, and I'm like, what the fuck do we need to know? I just want to go through it and figure it out as we go. I will agree with Hammer in the sense that I picked up first phase of SoD being like, can't wait for Kara, can't wait for all this new stuff that they've promised us. It's been like a fucking year and a half. And this is our first new raid. Like, I don't care that it's a 5-man or a scenario or some quests and runes or whatever. I'm here for the meat and potatoes, and we're finally there.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Scott, have you picked up on anything that you're excited for other than the raid coming out?
Look, anything new for me is it's got me back, isn't it? Let's face it. I've been talking about coming back to SoD purely for the Scarlet Raid for weeks and weeks and weeks, and everyone on stream has been sick to death of listening to me say it because they're like, "No, you won't." Every time I say I'm going to level up on SoD, they're like, "No, you won't," and they were right. I got boosted instead, but yeah, I wasn't excited about changes in MC. It's still MC. You know, you can stick a fucking dress on a pig. It's still a pig. And then Blackwing Lair, AQ, Nax, like all of it. I've been through all of it now, admittedly with a group of people that are, you know, overgeared for it, and I got hard carried. But none of it have I gone, oh, wow, great job. They've done really well with this. It still felt like the same old shit raids. You know, the same old raids I've done in 2004. But there's some shit tacked on that yeah, it weren't mind blowing. I did kind of like when they done with Zul'Gurub, actually. Like there was a few changes in Zul'Gurub where I was like, oh, okay, that's like quite cool. But nothing overly exciting. Whereas this is something completely different. You know, this is a brand new raid that no one has seen before. When we get more talking about the raid, I will obviously raise my concerns. But outside of that, I like the whole sort of profession-related sort of dailies that we're going to be doing around New Avalon. And I really like the loot box as well, where you can actually get tier gear as a solo player without even going in the raid. I thought that was like kind of a nice retail-esque touch.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be plenty of spoilers here, probably.
Though, to be fair, I really would have loved to see Scott's reaction to the meatball in Molten Core. The boss, Scotty, for you, is actually called the Molten Core. It's the 11th boss and added. I think you would have laughed your face off.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw it. I think I saw something at the when MC launched. I can't remember what I done, but I do remember seeing someone do it and was like... Oh.
Ultimately, the actual gamer experience was like they added all these intricate mechanics with these like water elementals. And what we, the players, do is we stand there and we nuke the meatball till it dies.
Oh, how did you just work that out? That sounds like a...
Actually, it took us ages. Took us ages.
Tried doing the mechanics properly for about 3 months and then realised we'll just stand there and just hit it.
That's exactly what happened.
But no, that's about it. Go from me. Outside, I really like the whole loot box thing. I do like that, but I'm a sucker for retail mechanics.
Yeah, it looked like they're changing the tier tokens to 1 token for everybody instead of it being restricted to certain classes and having 3 different tokens. And then it looks like there's a daily turn in or weekly, one or the other one, and you can have a chance to get that token from that box.
So it's like it's like the retail one. You know what's called the mythic plot box that you do. What's it called? Where you do all your activities every week and you get access to gear.
Well, that's the vault. Yeah, it's a bit more like, I would say, WOD. You know, where you could send your boats out to go and get one, like a chest that would have a random bit of raid loot in once a week, depending on the level of content you've done. That's what it reminded me of, anyway.
Well, my most excited thing that I'm ready for is these 30-slot bags that are coming, because we got one 30-slot bag option in Phase 7, and it's a massive bag compared to the other 20 slots that we have access to. So full 30-slot bags in the bank and on my main dude is going to feel amazing, because bag space is ridiculous. I have to transfer consumes to my bank alt after every raid, before every raid. And it's a mess to sort out. I'm like searching through my mail just to find all my mats to get into raids these days.
Shit,
Yeah,
I'll add that to my list. I didn't know that was coming. I'll add to my list. Inform needs to send me 30 slot bags.
Yeah, I have a tailor in my guild that's been basically messaging me like once a week, basically being like, "Can I get this recipe, please?" And she has currently got the mats for, now this is as of a week ago, 42 of them now. Scott, you have to run around and grind Blood of the Heroes. So she's been running around grinding these Blood of the Heroes, and she can make 42 of those slots. I was like, dude, I'll give you whatever you want. That's mental. What are you doing?
That's actually badass. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's...
So there's 24 slot bags and there's 30. So I'm not confirming that these 30 slots are for non-tailors as well. It looked like they were data mined to be BOE. So hopefully we can have them all stocked up. But even 24s would be nice. It's a big step up from 20s. But yeah, 30 would be sick.
And sure, why not? Why not put something like that in? Like, we're probably at the end now, right?
Yeah. But is that a sign that they're going to be giving us a whole lot of extra random loot that we have to carry 4 sets of gear into Scarlet Enclave for?
Oh,
nah, they made that mistake with Molten Core, even though I liked it because I'm a loser.
Yeah, we need to have a resistance set.
I don't think they're going to do that again.
Is there anything else coming in like that? Like I genuinely don't know. Other than, what about that hammer?
That's a huge one, right? Probably a massive quest line, right? That's going to be pretty sick. Warriors, paladins, and hunters. Unless they took hunters off, that's what Cheese.
Yeah, I don't know what was that with hunters.
Yeah, I don't know if they're on it or not anymore.
They are.
They are. They still are.
Last time I checked, they were still there. I think that could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be sick, right? That's all new content, quest line, that whole shebang. I would love to get my hands on one of those. What else?
Imagine a warrior taking that from a paladin. That's gonna kill guilds. I can't wait.
Imagine a hunter taking it.
It's probably
their
better
best,
DPS wise for a warrior. Yeah.
I don't know. Paladins got nerfed there. Paladins were dominating the DPS there.
Then they got hit with a nerf. Then they got hit with a buff again. I don't know where they're at right now, but yeah, I mean everyone's gonna want that. I mean that's been something that people have wanted forever, right? Like,
how long do you think it will take to get? Do you think it's going to be quite short? Because I think Gho was saying earlier, Atiesh is only a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, is that
yeah. Like if you're doing hard modes and Nax, like Atiesh is literally like 2-3 weeks max. So I have a feeling it's going to be super streamlined.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. What I hope for it is that it brings us back to the old raids.
That would be pretty cool.
Back to AQ40. Yeah.
No.
Well, okay.
No.
Hammer's like, wait a second, hold on.
Back to
if
Nax,
they tied it into like, Nax would make sense, obviously, and would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's gonna be awesome.
Go back and see the Blue Lich King.
There's some new consumes. There's some new enchants, like some proc enchants. Like there's an upgraded Crusader enchant that's coming.
Cool.
You have to do quests to unlock these patterns and stuff for like the new cooking food. We're getting fish feasts, if you will.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah,
nice.
there's a fish feast. And like personal food, it looks like at least for casters is slightly better. I think we get 3 or 4 extra spell power or something. So it's like fish feast for me would be for like Nax, but like personal food for Scarlet.
So I just want to throw a question in at literally all three of you, which is going to tie in nicely with the next topic anyway. Like, does this not all seem like a bit of a waste? Like, I get doing the new raid, cool. Like, having the new raid and some dailies and stuff. But then all this new enchants, new food buffs, new consumables. Like, when ultimately most people are looking at this as the final raid, are Blizzard actually looking at this as the final raid when they're putting all of this stuff in that almost sounds like it's actually setting up stuff for the next raid? To me, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's actually getting you all new enchants and consumables during this phase is almost getting you ready for the next raid.
I imagine it's just doing something that Blizzard's really afraid to do, and that's just throw shit at the wall. And now they've got this platform that's going to probably disappear. They might as well throw all the shit at the wall.
Yep. That's exactly the take that I have on it, is that they are just pumping everything they got, all the ideas for this phase. They're going to throw it all at everybody. And obviously this is being used for future stuff, right? So they'll take this and whatever works, whatever doesn't work, they can it or put it in anyway, because sometimes Blizzard does that too, right? But I think that's what it is. I think this is just like everything they had in the bucket, they just dumped it on the table and we're like, ship it. Let's just we know this is the end. We're going to shift focus to MoP and whatever else is going on behind the scenes, right? And let's just let people have fun with this last phase. My only thing is I hope Ashbringer is not like an everybody gets a trophy type of thing, because that would suck. I'm not a fan of that, and I really hope that that's not what it is. Like everyone in your raid has Ashbringer in, a month. Okay. Like
I imagine it will go that way. I think
that's what happened.
You think it'll be that fast?
Yeah. No, not a month. I think one every 2 to 3 weeks. So everybody in your raid will get it.
Yeah. If you're pushing like whatever hard mode there is, I think that's acceptable, and that's like that entices you to do those hard modes, right? But if people are just running normals, I don't think that they should be getting it in like 2 or 3 weeks. That would be kind of.
I would like for the story of it to at least be thought out and them just thrown in a weapon.
Yeah.
At least give us some juicy lore behind it. Now, I'm not a big lore guy, but it should be all about purifying it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully something like that comes, because there are a lot of runes and stuff had a lot of good story behind it. Not that I know anything about it, but at least that was cool.
Yep.
So another thing that they are throwing at the wall was engineering tinkers. So there's like a nitro boost that's coming, and like a blink.
It's original.
Yeah. It's like a 20-yard blink or something like that, and the nitro boost that everybody knows about. So I think that's going to be for everybody, not just engineers. The engineers make the tinker slot for the belt, and then you just get the tinker, put it on your belt, and job's a good one.
See, I don't like this. This whole podcast lark when I'm sober is I'm far too respectful of people's opinions when they're such fucking garbage. Like I've got to just pretend I'm pissed. I'll act pissed just for a minute, because I wouldn't sit and listen to this and be like, oh yeah, that's fair. But that's what I'm doing. I'm being respectful, and it's not in my character. They're not throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. They're using things that are already proven to work and then putting them in a version of the game that's about to be dead. Like, let's be honest, they're taking rocket boots that have been used and abused in raids for the last fucking 20 years. Well, not 20, but you know what I mean? Like, they know it works. If they was experimenting with things for future use for Classic, I mean, surely rocket boots is not going to be one of them, is it? Because that's like, well, they know it works, and it's kind of them sort of things that should have actually been in right from the start. Like tinkers are just a part of WoW. I'd want to see bolder. Maybe not phase 1, but like a lot of the mobility there's shit mobility in vanilla, like full stop, like all the classes. So maybe not phase 1 as in Black Fathom Deeps, but the like Molten Core. The whatever phase it was at level 60, was that phase 5 or 4?
Phase 4.
Yeah. So like then maybe Tinker's got added. I feel like some of the that sounds great to me. By the way, I'm not shitting on the actual the premise of it. Like, I think it's great that engineers are getting rocket boots. But it just seems like, well, why bother putting it in now? Like that would have been amazing to have had for the whole time raiding at level 60.
It would have been, but it would have broken the game. And the idea is now it doesn't fucking matter if the game breaks. You might as well just put it all in.
Exactly, and going off of that, like what Nelty just said, that it would have broke the game. All of those raids and everything were already designed with what was in Classic, right? Like this phase, this tier, this raid, this new zone, all of this stuff is designed with this new stuff in mind, right? So maybe they're able to make it not completely break the game. That would be the only way that I would see any their thought process on why maybe they didn't put it in earlier. You know what I mean? Think about the crazy shit you probably could have done in vanilla if you had rocket boots throughout the whole thing through Molten Core and BWL and everything. Not that it would have even been bad. It probably would have been sick, but
yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But again, when it just from my perspective, when I'm looking at it, when it comes to professions, obviously you don't tune bosses around 25 people having engineering. Like, yes, we use engineering and find ways to make rocket boots, you know, particularly useful on fights. But you would say that there's never really a good time to have it. And yeah, technically you do have rocket boots, don't you? But yeah, not as a tinker. You can make the actual boots. So yeah, I just think there's a lot of things that they're putting in where it's like I don't feel we need to switch the topics around. We need to switch the topics around and talk about the life after Phase 8 before we get onto the actual raid, because like I don't think it's going anywhere. Well, yeah, it's just because I don't. To me, what they've done with Phase 8 is not a way that you end a game. Like I don't see Phase 8 being the last phase for Season of Discovery.
I do.
Yeah. I do as well, but I also see why you're saying that, and that is actually what's causing a lot of confusion in like my comments on my videos and everything. People are like arguing that this isn't the last phase when it very clearly is. And I think that is just setting the stage for a letdown no matter what comes out. Because if these people really think that there is more coming and there isn't, and I could be wrong too, maybe there is, but if there isn't and people are like wholeheartedly believing that there is, like every which way you're going to just be disappointed, right? Which is a terrible way to end this.
Yeah, I don't. When I say phase, I don't mean like necessarily there'll be a Phase 9. But I don't think it's the end of SoD. I think there will be other content added. It all seems a bit strange to me. Like they've said it all culminates in, you know, with the Scarlet Crusade raid. And they say like it's the end of a chapter in a post as well.
In the marketing email they said the final chapter of SoD.
The final chapter, yeah. I mean, they've not said it's ending. It's the final chapter of SoD. Don't mean SoD is over with Phase 8. Yeah, it's the final chapter of the whole maybe vanilla portion. And again, I'm not saying it goes into TBC, but I think there's a lot of people that love SoD and are attached to their characters, and I think Blizzard see the amount of people that play SoD and how booming the fucking servers are, because that's what took me by surprise. I got to Stormwind and was like, what the fuck did all these people come from? Like, I was absolutely gobsmacked at how many people were running around.
Just classic. Classic's just like that.
But it was mental in comparison to, you know, even at peak time on Mankrik in Orgrimmar. Yeah, there's a lot of people around and they're all spread all over the place rather than right outside the bank. But there's a lot of people that clearly love the game, love the characters. You know, they've made loads of gold from boosting and all of this. Like, it would suck for that to all just be completely gone. Like, they've got a plan.
I don't know what their plan is, but I know it's not SoD, because what they did with SoD, which is criminal, is they took Classic and they just added basically like a sheet of paper on top of Classic, and that's now SoD. So they actually can't change anything from the base game, or else it affects Era. So they have this game that's like glued on top of another game that they can't actually fix any of they can't open up the engine to touch anything. They have to get rid of SoD that way. So it's
every time that something comes out, there's an issue that falls over into Era. Like even literally the other day when AB came out for a solid half hour, an hour, Cheesebags was in AB on Anniversary getting washed by SoD players.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
So yeah, I loved every minute of that.
Like it's nuts. Like you're right about that. Like that to me shows that like it has to end, right? Like there's no way. How can they can't really go much further.
Where would they let's say they made a new raid. Where are they going to put it? Like where are they going to add it on top of? Like Felwood? Maybe, I don't know. They've got one in Felwood actually. Like,
Caverns of Time, they could
Mount
utilize,
Hyjal,
right?
Twilight Highlands, Caverns of Time.
Yeah,
there's loads.
It can't be changed. They'd have to change the classic code to change that.
Yeah, but with New Avalon has been added, isn't it? That's not actually in classic era.
No,
it's not in classic. It's not classic era servers. You can't physically get to it.
The instance part of it is added on, but the actual place Tier's Hand is there.
but it hasn't launched yet, so we don't know. Is it gonna show
might
up
be an
on
error.
anniversary?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there.
Imagine
I don't know.
Gear drop there.
I personally, as someone who's more playing SoD casually and just wants to see the new raid, I'm not that bothered. Like, as in, yeah, it could end next week. I honestly, I ain't gonna lose any sleep. But I do genuinely feel sorry for the people that are absolutely loving the game, because I don't know what I would feel like, if I'd been playing SoD since the beginning, at phase 1, and it's now like so uncertain what's going to be going on with my characters, and I don't want to play MoP, I don't want to go play retail. Classic era now feels like shit. You're probably like, what do I do?
Yeah, well, that's a conversation my guild's having. Is like, do we just wait for TBC now? Is that the crack? I'm not going to level in Classic again.
That's what most people are doing. Like, and this has been a question that literally in the first interview that I did with Agrind and all of them, I have been asking about this. Like, people need to know, and this goes on to a whole new thing that I think is on our list of stuff to talk about like why I don't believe in seasonal World of Warcraft. I don't think it should ever be a thing. I'm not a fan of it. And this is the main reason, because of the uncertainty. Like Scotty said, people are attached to their characters. People put so much time into SoD. You know what I mean? Like, and to not know what's going to happen, if you know what's going to happen, first of all, it would be more enticing to spend more time, invest more time. If you know, like, that's how everyone played 2019 Classic, TBC, all of that, because you knew where it was going next, right? You're like, oh, all right, well, I'm kind of raid logging. I'm going to level all these characters that I want for Wrath Classic, right? And then it kind of creates this, like, it feels like you never really have to stop playing. But when you don't know if there is just going to be a SoD era server where like these characters just sit forever and it inevitably will just be a ghost town after a while, like that kind of feels bad in my opinion. And I think that really needs to be clarified. And I have been asking them that for over a year and still can't get an answer. Not even like it's just, you're going to be in a cool place or whatever Agrin keeps saying. And
yeah,
that's great and all, but like you're talking about hundreds of hours of people's time, man. Like, people want to know. Yeah. And there's people I know that didn't even give SoD a chance. And they would have, had we known what the end game of SoD was going to be, what the end goal was. They're just like, I don't want to play seasonal WoW. I'm not putting 200 hours into this if it's going to be gone.
I don't think they know.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
I
this
100%
is
agree.
Monthly base. I reckon they're waiting for their monthly meeting to decide, here, are we doing our raid for SoD? People like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And and unfortunately, that is a major thing that should be disclosed to like the player base. That's like, it's kind of crazy that we don't know, but
it's very, very, very poor project management. It's like on the project management team, because it won't be the developers. They'll be in on the actual project management discussions, but that's the first thing you lay out. If you're starting a project, you lay out a start and an end point, and what the end point means. And in any business, there'll be a transitional crossover into something else at the end. It don't matter what field of or line of work that you're in. They should have known from the inception of SoD what happens when SoD is over, and that should be communicated. Because, like, even with Classic that we're playing now, they're between a rock and a hard place. That, like, when people go, "Do you think we'll get WOD?" Yeah, of course we will. Because what are they going to do? They've got themselves to a position now where, because there's been no communication on where Classic will end and what will happen to your characters, they've just got to keep going. Because there'll be uproar on retail servers if after MoP, everyone's running around with gold challenge mode transmog sets on every single character that's completely unobtainable on retail nowadays. Like,
they're going to connect them, for sure.
Yeah, at some point, I no doubt, you would imagine that's going to happen. But when they do a seasonal server, if they've done a seasonal RAF server, they just need to be very clear. At the end of ICC, when we deem that it's over, if it's 5 months of ICC, then your characters are going to MoP Classic, or your characters will be available for transfer to retail. But the reason that's a super, super good thing is because retail players will go and play it. Like, if there was a seasonal MoP server, retail players would go and play it to go and get gold challenge modes for their retail account that they can't get.
They should just charge us like £9 to transfer to retail. That fixes that completely.
And make some cash.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't even take one person.
I want to ask why you guys think why would they not want to just figure this out and tell people, right? Like if let's say what you said before is true, Scotty, right? Like imagine if they were like they decided, you know what, SoD's pretty popular. There's a lot of people who are attached to it and love it, and we can pull back in those phase 1 numbers if we bring SoD, into TBC in the next 6 months or whatever it's going to be. Like if they knew that and said that out loud, which they never have, no one get any ideas from me saying this. Do you know the amount of people that would go ham on SoD for this last phase and come back and level a ton of characters and do all of this content that they added because they know it's going to TBC? Like, I don't understand why. Like, it's almost like hurting not to just make a decision and go with it, because if people know, then they could work with that and decide if they want to come back and play it, which if they did something like that, tons of people would come back.
But the opposite is also true. If I said to you today, this is the last raid, players like me would go in, clear the raid once, and then be like, cool, had a great time in SoD, bye.
Yeah. I'd go in, I'd get whatever footage I need, make whatever videos I want to end with the whole SoD thing on, and be like, I'm done with SoD now. But I almost already have that in my mind, right? Like if I'm like, they gave us nothing, so I'm just assuming that this is going to be the end. It seems like it's going to be the end. So like in my head, that's why I like left my guild. We started this whole guild with me and Gho and Jerome and everyone. We were like, let's just have fun for this last phase. Like, because I feel like it is going to end, and I could be wrong, but I don't know. I just think we're waiting until like the last possible second here to let people know what's actually happening.
Yeah, well, they're being ambiguous because you can make up your own mind.
Yeah.
Like how many people have you seen arguing that it's not going to end and it's going to go to TBC?
A ton. A ton.
Yeah, so
my comments
they're just
are
leaving it ambiguous for. Yeah, they're leaving it ambiguous so that you can make your own mind up. It's like not ending a book. It's like, oh, you make the end it for the character.
Yeah.
And then at some point they'll close it. But I think this patch is going to be great. I think this is going to be one of them legendary patches that only happens in WoW. Like once a season, like this is going to be so crazy and chaotic, and anything could happen that nobody can even predict. It's going to be one of the best patches. Kind of reminds me of like retail whenever all them, I can't remember what they were called. Like they had affixes where everyone was going crazy in one shot and people with their shoulder enchant, whatever it was called, infusions or something. Stuff that you can't predict is going to happen. People are going to PvP is going to be a nightmare. Like I can only imagine one shots.
And to go a little bit more off what you said before, Nelty, I'm reading Scotty's chat. Cheesebags brought up a good point. They can make anything a raid or a dungeon, because if you look at Demon Fall Canyon, right? All you had to do was a small attunement. You put a trinket on, and a portal appears out of nowhere in Ashenvale.
Yeah, true.
So that is a way they could, they could make some stuff. Like I don't know.
That was pre-used assets too, though, right?
Yeah. It was definitely pre-used assets and stuff, but to, I guess, give us new zones or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be open world. It would be instance content if they had to keep it out of era. But I don't know. It's in a weird spot. Very fun, and I've loved it for the most part, all of it. But it is, this whole not knowing what happens thing drives me nuts. That really drives me crazy.
Well, I'll tell you now, like if SoD went on to TBC, which again, like highly unlikely that it will, but if it did, I would be playing SoD TBC and not the TBC Anniversary Edition, like no doubt, because I do actually like 100%. I do like TBC, but I would much prefer TBC with more interesting classes, and they wouldn't even really need to do a lot. You can almost just have all exactly the same runes and stuff, and then just actually have new abilities unlock between 60 and 70. So throw like a few extra raid cooldowns in on each class. So maybe I don't really know exactly what cooldowns are even in the game, but give rogues like the MoP version of Smoke Bomb. Give I don't know, Divine Hymn for priest if that's not in. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just add. Yeah. So like every class between 60 and 70 is going to get 2 extra abilities. Boom. Everything else stays the same. Now just tune all the dungeons and raids. Like I would play that over actual TBC. And I think a lot of people would. Because it's going to be an experience of TBC that you can't get.
But it's the thing that I think that they failed at in SoD is that this was meant to be like, in my opinion, WoW Arcade. It was meant to be short snippets, and you meant to be coming back for like might be seasonal. You know, you might play for a couple of weeks, leave, play your main game for whatever time, and then come back. I think that like they don't even have any gear to put runes on, do they? Like, are we using all of them? All the pieces of gear? 2 rings?
No shoulders. You can't get runes on shoulders, weapon.
Well, they might as well with the enchant. Might as well. That's a 4 set.
Yeah, there's really just no
set,
neck.
yeah. Just the neck. If we go to BFA, we get that neck on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they went into SoD TBC, they should do kind of like what Scotty just said and just make all the runes baseline and then have certain new things unlock on your way from 60 to 70, like cooldowns and shit. That would be pretty cool.
I was already worried whenever they announced SoD in Phase 1 and they were like, we're putting, was it 3 runes you got then? Was it 3?
3 slots,
and then I was like,
yeah.
And then we're going to have 3 phases till Molten Core, so we're going to have like 8 new abilities. It's a lot of things to manage. Like, that was crazy to me that we were going to have all that. Yeah. And then TBC has the new abilities as well. Do you think SoD TBC would work? Like, do you not think we just melt the places?
I think they'd have to change the talent trees again, like they did with SoD. Like, they've modified so many talents in the talent trees, they'd have to go through all of that again to try to balance it, I think.
SoD Karazhan, man. I'd be all over that. Like, I'm not that hyped for the anniversary edition of TBC, but just because I've played it so many times. But SoD TBC, like I say, I like versions of the game that I can't just go and play for free somewhere. You know, like SoD, you can't. All right, you've got Ascension or something like that, but it's not the same thing. You know, but they could make a really unique TBC experience by going into it with Season of Discovery. And it's mad to me that with the amount of people that still play SoD, that this something like it like just isn't already public knowledge. That is the only reason why it's like kind of obvious that it is dead after Phase 8. I actually think the game suffers a drastic drop off 2 weeks into Phase 8.
I agree.
I was being generous. I was gonna say a month is the life expectancy in my opinion, but yeah, I could.
Yeah, the first legendaries, when the legendaries start to go out, is when you'll see the drop off.
Yeah,
I'll personally be playing it for many months after it comes out, at least through the summer and stuff like that. Like, I have no plans to stop playing SoD just because it's the last raid. Like, I'm one of the players that likes to get all of the gear, get that BIS, and then like now I can finally try to maximize the boss fights. And that's kind of the mentality of the guild that I'm in. Like, we want to work on execution for all the new mechanics that we're going to see on these boss fights and try to like do the raid as fast as possible, I guess, like on the boss fights, like the execution, have the highest execution that we can.
What about
SoD? We can't do that in the first 2 weeks.
Let's do it all over again. Let's just reset the whole season.
I was going to say, I have so many people that comment on my stuff asking for a fresh SoD. Literally, a fresh SoD people want. Like, it's out of control. I've had someone say that they need to do a feline version of SoD where it's semi-hardcore and you have 9 lives. I was like, what is going on? People are insane, man. Like, really, people are crazy.
Well, I mean, the thing is, that is such a sensible idea anyway. Not the fucking feline thing. I mean, just fresh SoD. It's a seasonal server anyway. Like, they literally could just say, right, okay, all your characters are going to a SoD era server. New season starts next month. And then that's it. And now they've got it all done. They just literally re-release it again, and they just do it. They could literally do that every year and a half for the next God knows how long, and people would still play it. That's what they should do. Then there's no real end. You know, it's a true seasonal server, which is what it was meant to be.
Yeah. My thought is that they are going to do the SoD era server and change this from a seasonal server to an experimental server, and every once in a while release content on it to test for future whatever, Classic Plus, whatever they're making. And that is a way of kind of keeping it alive forever. Not super alive like it is now, but a way for people to stay attached to their characters, have these characters, but also beta test for them new things. Like, I could see that being a thing, maybe.
I can't even see the monetary incentive of doing something like that. I would honestly just delete all the servers. Be like, cool, you had a good time in SoD. Good luck. We're going to make a new seasonal server in 6 months. Come back and we'll do the same thing.
So where do they send everyone's characters, though? to that
Fuck 'em,
SoD
they're
era.
dead.
to the recycling bin.
Yeah.
No, I'm
You can leave them there if you
kind of
want.
with you.
It's a season, you know. Like, what happened to all the eras? Like, my era character's still over there on era. I paid like £9 for it. I haven't looked at it since. It's got like 100 gold on it. Super excited to do Nax one time, and this I couldn't even afford my consumes because it's like 3,000 gold is like standard over there to have.
Once it hits an era state SoD, it's done. That it's cooked. It'll have no player, like very little players on it. I mean, what happened with Sam? Right, our characters we were able to transfer there to Wrath. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, you played through TBC and Wrath. Like, you have everything you really need. What do you need to transfer these characters over for?
Like, you could sell me on a fresh anything. If you says we're deleting your character, but we're giving you fresh, cool.
Yeah.
I'll go back to fresh. Start a new character.
I think that's the only option. Without going forward and adding more content, I think their best option is to offer the people that love SoD fresh SoD, a new season of it, and they like caveat it a little bit by saying this season might be a little bit different. And you know, if they get time to add different things, tweak different things, then great, they do it. But really, it's mostly a hands-off project for them at that point. It's like, we'll release each phase every 3 months or every 10 weeks or whatever, and go again. Yeah,
that's a crazy idea. Imagine they did that with Classic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next anniversary edition.
Whole new, section of WoW players. Like, you have like the Cata MoP players, you have your retail players, you have your era players and anniversary, and now you have SoD players. And like, the problem is that most SoD players, myself included, I love classic WoW, but going from playing SoD to playing era or anniversary, it feels horrible. It feels like you're just downgrading the game you're playing. Like, SoD is just, for all its faults, it is just an infinitely better version of vanilla. It's way more fun in every way possible. Like, dude, like, I literally got that shaman to 60. I've been ranking whatever, trying to do raids with these. They want you to be full consumed, full flask, and it's like 900 gold for one raid. Then by the time all 40 people get to the raid, 5 left, and you got to find 5 more. Like, I loved it back in 2019, but after playing SoD, it's hard, man. Like, having your class just feel better than vanilla too. Like, I don't know. I think Scotty's onto something with the fresh SoD. I think people would actually play the shit out of that.
That guy in chat has got like an actual legit class idea for SoD too. So we was BFD at level 25.
Yep.
Go back this time and make Dead Mines into a level 25 instance, and now you've got 2 raids at level 25, and do that for 40 and 50 and 60. Obviously, that sounds legit.
Yeah, that's now development. That's like, I think they'd be wanting to work on the next thing. You know, like, I'd hate to think how many like re-subs they got from Season of Discovery. You know, Season of Discovery probably made its money in the first 2 weeks of launch. You know, it warranted the development time. Whereas now they're not going to get those numbers back, like with even by adding raids.
They said Classic Plus. That sell the man in.
Oh yeah, they could call it. If they call it Classic Plus, they'll be golden. But no, honestly, I think they need to almost just put SoD on repeat now for as long as it's got, you know, a decent player base. I genuinely, now I'm kind of enjoying SoD. I would, if they'd done a fresh server after phase 8, I'd start phase 1 again, just on the side, just one character that I kept up to date all the way through. It's included in the sub. Why not? You'd be a fool not to play it. You know, it's better to play it than not play it when it's free.
Yeah. And it's a shame that we're now like nearing the end, and it's in like the best state that it's ever been in my opinion. I know you feel differently, Scotty, but it really is. Like, I've played the whole way through minus AQ phase, and this has been the most fun that I have had since phase 1. It is like, I don't know, pumping Nax just feels really good.
Well, I thought Nax was dogs, like, from start to finish, but because they've brought to life the whole end game, the game's great. Like, if I was to judge this based on just Nax, I'd be like, nah, whatever.
You're talking about like the pug scene, right?
Yeah, like I don't pug really. I run my own guild. I just literally raid 3 hours a week in SoD, and then I disappear back to Cata. But just over the last like couple of weeks, just seeing the whole game just come to life. It's probably just because this new content is actually on the horizon. The community's been brilliant.
Yeah.
And the real system has kept everything relevant. I'm in full gear just doing molten core. Great. And you know what? If I'm not going to get any gear with that, I get money.
I feel like there's a real lack of
spot.
toxicity as well. Like maybe I've just been fortunate, but everyone on SoD does genuinely actually seem quite helpful. And I'm not just talking about Inform that's carried me through content. Literally anyone that I've encountered in the outdoor world, like, you know, people are actually just more open to, like, yeah, you're new, you ain't got any gear, it's cool, don't worry about it. Like, it's not like, get this cunt out of raid because he's useless. Yeah, you know, there's just...
It's because it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. It is easy. It's not as punishing. But I just want to address a comment because it was actually a really good point. So, fresh SoD with or without the rune vendor. Well, for me at that point, the discovery aspect of it has gone. So I would actually just have a rune vendor in for each phase. So you don't get all the runes. You know, you get the phase 1 runes on the rune vendor in phase 1. Phase 2, they just add them. You know, keep the quests in. So if you want to go and like get them yourself, you know, because there might be people that are like, oh, I didn't do that quest line, I'll go and do it. But I would just have them in because I think the thing about SoD for me, I talk a lot of shit about the game, but I am enjoying it. When I'm online, like we're talking about it now, and I'm thinking about when I get indoors, I'm going to fire the laptop up and go on my mage. Like I am enjoying it. And the fact that I've just said if there was a fresh SoD server, I'd play on it. You know, it goes without saying that I am actually enjoying my time on it. But I don't. It's not season of discovery at that point. There's nothing to discover.
Right.
So I think they just add all the quality of life in from the start, and make it a bit more like Nolty said. You jump on, you play for a couple of weeks, you wait for the next phase, you do it, you go again. You know.
Yeah.
Well, they fucked the discovery anyway. Like, does anybody here actually went on a character on their own and found every single rune on their class?
No.
We went to Scottejaye and you followed the arrow.
One, and it was Seal of Martyr.
Yeah,
whatever. I'm Paladin. That was it. That was the only rune I'd ever found.
I was the same. I said to myself, like I did today when I was shouting at Sky for spoilers, just like I'm going on the SoD and I'm finding these runes on my own. Day 2, Scottejaye. Follow the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found quite a few during phase 2 where you know, on launch night, where it was, I think it was like the mage ones that came from the mobs in Strangleform Vale, like Spellfrost Bolt, and I think Frostfire Bolt as well. But then, other than that, in guild chat, it was just like, it's at these coordinates. Yeah, go get it. But I did like that. You know, that like as a guild in phase 1, but more than phase 2, it was great when someone found a rune. And then they was like, it's here. And like everyone's rushing over to go and get it. And then you actually realize, wait, I can't get it as this class. You know, that's not for me. Yeah. You know, that phase 1, they're not going to be able to recreate that without doing a completely different fucking season.
Well,
server.
I would change it. They made the discovery of them this big wowhead thing. Like the masses are going to discover everything. They should have just made them more intuitive and easy to find for an individual to not have to do that.
Yeah.
Being so much cooler.
Yeah, but look, as I say, I do think it's a shame because, like you've all alluded to or flat out just said, you know, SoD is in a great place at the moment, and even I'm agreeing with that. I do think it's in a great place, and it's just a shame that it's got to a great place when it's practically over, and I do really worry that in a couple of weeks. It's gone. But again, he hasn't said this tonight, but he made a really good point when I was talking about this on stream the other day. And he said, if you bought a game, you'd buy a game for like 50, 60 quid and play it for what? Maybe a week? And then you're done with it. Even if you're not a subscriber to WoW, but you only subscribe to play Phase 8 now, it's going to cost you £10. £10, and you're probably going to get... Well, you're going to get a full month of fun out of it. You'd be able to play every single day for a month. That's the cheapest fucking game you're ever going to buy.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely worth money to jump into SoD now, for sure.
Yeah. And they did what everyone was afraid they wouldn't be able to do, which is, like you were saying before, Nulty, keep all of the raids relevant. Like, the end game is very alive. Like, Molten Core, BWL, ZG, AQ10, N20, and Nax. Like, You can do all of it, and it is pretty accessible.
And that's
even
what
the
made Classic
dungeons.
famous to me.
Yeah, and the dungeons, yeah. I'm not a big dungeon grinder, but yeah, I mean, you have Kara, which to me, I wasn't that big of a fan of Kara, but
it was meant to be a raid. The fuckers were meant to give us Karazhan as a raid. I could have got Scotty back to SoD by just saying the word Karazhan.
Yep, original proper Karazhan, but yeah, for level 60s, I would have been there instantly. No, absolutely no doubt. My favourite raid of all time.
Karazhan's always fun and wacky, and this one was okay. They've done better.
Cool.
Have you done a Karazhan, Scotty?
I haven't. I'm not even attuned. But again, it's Karazhan Crypts. Yeah, I've seen it. I've watched Gho on stream doing it, and I didn't look at it and was like, oh my god, I really need to do that. I'll probably do it at some point when Inform can be bothered to drag me around, make sure I get attuned, and then make a group and take me there. Like then I'll go. Preferably summon me as well around for all the quests because it looks like there's a lot of running around. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it'll take you about hour and a half without getting summons all over the place to do it. You have to get DFC attuned. If you're not DFC attuned, that's another 15, 20 minutes right there.
Yeah, can't you do? You can do Dire Maul instead, though, can't you?
You can do Dire Maul, yeah. But then you have to get to Dire Maul and do Dire Maul West.
Oh yeah, Inform will just summon me there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then probably solo the first boss, like, and then summon me to the next place. Like it's fine. It's fine.
But you have to do
it'll take you 15 minutes to get attuned. He's just told me. It'll take 15 minutes with him. He's got 40 plus summoners.
Jesus Christ, Inform, what are you doing?
It's absolutely fine. I honestly...
Why have you got 40 summoners?
From 1 to 60 and then getting geared, I practically didn't move anywhere. I was like, right, I'm ready, Inform. Where are we going? And then a summon will pop up. It's like, cool, lovely. Now I don't have any flight paths and it's really painful to go anywhere on my own. I'll start DMing him at like 5 a.m. Like, mate, I can't sleep. I need to get to Winter Spring. Can you log on?
Jesus.
All right. Are we doing expectations from the raid itself, from Scarlet Enclave?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I am just gonna grab some water so I can stick it in the coffee machine though, because I'm getting tired. But I'm listening, and then I'll chime in when I'm back.
All right. So far from what I've seen, there's supposed to be 8 bosses, a little attunement process. And I've looked at some data mine stuff. These aren't heavy spoilers, but from what I've seen, it looks like we might have a vehicle fight. And I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that if we do have one. And then maybe like what are they called? Council fight, possibly as one of the fights.
Yeah, like an arena PvP style fight.
Yeah, there's some interesting looking fights in there, but 8 bosses sounds pretty decent to me for a raid tier.
Hammer, what do you think? You go ahead. I feel like you're going to be way more positive than I will be. You go first.
What was the question here? Are we not on the same
just like your expectations from the raid itself. Like, what would you want to see from it? Like, are you expecting like different hard modes like we have in Nax, like 4 different hard modes, a new sanctified system coming in, or like how would you want the raid to go?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I expect it to be going off of the existing sanctified system, right? Because we've seen that the gear that drops in there is sanctified. So unless we get like some new item that we have to level up with Remnants of Valor again, or something similar to that, I expect that to still be a thing, like borrowed power, right? I'm like on board with expecting this to be like a TOGC style raid, like everyone's been talking about, because there were no like mobs data mined aside from the bosses and stuff like that. So it would make sense. But I don't know how true that is going off just data mines or anything like that. Maybe they just didn't talk about them. And that's also just stuff that we're reading, right? So, but I fully expect it to be designed pretty cool, but I do expect it to be riddled with bugs on launch, and severely overtuned, most likely.
I think that's fine though, because there's no PTR.
That, yeah.
So
yeah.
We can't complain.
Exactly. That's why that's just like a given to me. Like it's going to be riddled with bugs, game breaking stuff, and most likely severely overtuned.
I'd be happy with that. I'm more along the lines of I think it's going to be overwhelmingly mediocre. I think it's going to be very safe. Though I would have went balls to the wall. Like, what have they got to lose?
Mhm.
But I think they're going to be super safe. I know the sanctified system's in there, but I just think that the power aspect of it is a bit silly, saying as it's a new raid.
I agree. I
Sanctified,
hate the whole sanctified
yeah,
system.
it made sense in Nax because they can't change Nax. So the only way to add these hard modes in and add all this health and stuff is to, as I said, layer the paper on top of the raid. So it made sense for them to like just fire all this difficulty and health and everything. It made it fun, and we got the pump. And then like KT, for example, KT was a long fight in sanctified gear. Like, it's fucking long, and there's and an extra phase as well.
Yeah.
But we don't need that this time. We need it just to be simple. Just leave us in our gear. All the bosses are new. Make them fun. I would definitely put trash in the raid. And if they put some good lore in there, we'll all go away happy. Like, is the last boss gonna be the fucking dread guy that Arthas chased away? Or Balthazar? Who's the guy that Arthas chased the Frostmourne with?
Bolvar. Is it Bolvar?
No, not Bolvar,
no.
The dread guy. The demon with the wings. You see in Stratholm. Mal'Ganis, yeah. Is Mal'Ganis the last boss? Is that what I heard?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about
Is he in there? Someone tell me, is Mal'Ganis in there, or is someone talking shit to me?
Boss list.
I feel like he is in there, isn't he?
Because we're going to chase him down to the ends of the earth. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fucking awesome. I don't care if he's a shit fight. We're chasing him to the ends of the earth. I don't. I could be talking shit. I don't know. I've done no research into this. I want to go in fresh, but someone did say that to me.
Yeah, it might have been you who then said it to me, because I've definitely heard that from somewhere as well.
That would be it'd be funny if I just made all this up.
We just have Balthazar.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the same end guy from Strat Live. Yeah, the one that turns into like a demon or whatever at the end, isn't it? Yeah, that one.
There's a dragon.
Oh yes, because he was So Mal'Ganis is the one. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good pick. As a human.
Her model is a human. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just like actually in scarlet armor type thing as well, isn't she? Yeah.
So she's gonna be a bad guy before she becomes a good guy. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, she's in like the purple paladin judgment set.
The TBC set. Wow. Okay.
See, they pulled a lot of TBC stuff for Scarlet Enclave.
Yeah, almost all the assets, like weapon and armor wise, are TBC models. That's a hint. TBC SoD. Oh my god.
Well, I laugh at the lore implications of that. So it's like you get all your judgment set from like the dragon tier people in Blackwing Lair, and then you go to your 5-mans in TBC and you get your purple judgment. It's like, what the fuck? Why?
So do you think it like forget difficulty and everything, but do you think it can really be? So I know there's lots of fights where like you're fighting humanoids, like 4 horsemen, stuff like that. But I just looked at them and was like, it don't look like a raid boss. It's not like a big dragon. It's not, they're just like little normal humans. I don't know. I looked at it and was just like, it didn't look that impressive. And I know we've had like boss fights where, it's just against a human. But is it going to be that good, or is it going to feel like a glorified dungeon? Because that's how I'm feeling straight away.
The 3 that are not just like a person is like the vehicle fight, right? Mason, the dragon, Solastraza, and Balthazar. But you're right. The other 5 are just like Herod, Lillian Voss, Calvaran.
Herod's in there. Yeah. Fuckers, why they come on this podcast? I would have had a really great opening seeing Herod there. Like, what the?
Yeah, and there's like an epic level 60 Herod's Pauldron data mine that's sanctified, and it's like a big, warrior paladin DPS.
Is it 2 shoulders?
It is 1.
Oh, okay.
Well, if the raid is inside of like a Scarlet Cathedral, the bosses can't be too massive.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah,
scaled down.
Yeah. As I say, it's like kind of a pointless worry, because if the bosses are designed well, it kind of don't matter how big they look or what they are. But I was just looking at the bosses and I was just getting real dungeon vibes from them rather than raid vibes, But it's very personal opinion. Yeah, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. They might be the best boss fights we ever do. But when I was looking at it, I was like, we've just killed fucking, Nefarian and Cthulhu and all that shit, and then you're fighting some little twat holding a hammer. It's like, oh wow, that looks scary.
It's what Cheesebag said in chat. Finding out that we're the fuckers responsible for killing Voss, Lillian Voss, that's on its own. It's just cool.
Yeah, that is
like
cool.
That's Classic Plus
if
stuff.
It ties in. Yeah.
That's the stuff we want from Classic Plus. We want to see what happened in the world that we haven't seen. Enough is enough for this raid.
I mean, I'm hoping it's cool. As I say, for me personally, as long as the mechanics on the bosses are interesting, like I'm not going to go in there and worry about if it's super hard. Like if it's super hard, cool. I like progressing. I'd like a hard raid. But if it was easy, I wouldn't care. Either way, I don't care.
Classic players cannot hack progress. See, if you die on your classic character, that is the end of the world. You've got 400 world buffs to get. You have 3 more flasks to farm. No.
But you know what I'm saying. I don't like. I'm not going into it wanting an easy raid or a hard raid. I just want interesting mechanics. And as long as they're an interesting fight to do, I personally won't be disappointed. It would have been worth sitting in blasted lands, getting boosted, and then getting carried through raids to get gear. It would have all been worth my time.
Yeah, I'm sure Inform can say the same.
Next go. That cut about covers expectations. I think that was
the last topic, right?
We covered life after SoD. Should the next project be a seasonal server, or should they keep experimenting and giving us something new? I mean, I know we've touched on that a little bit, but what's everyone's thoughts around that? Has ultimately, if Season of Discovery ends with Phase 8, would people be excited for them to do another seasonal server, or should they do something that has got more legs? Where it continues on. I'm not going to say WoW 2, but something that stands alone.
I'm going with more legs, because really, what do you do after SoD? If you're doing like a vanilla seasonal server, what can be done more than SoD that would be different than SoD, right? I think we're at a point here where eventually this stuff needs to condense a little bit, and there should just be one thing that's the game, and everyone knows that the game is not seasonal, it's not ending. My personal take, I am not big on the seasonal WoW. I think that it needs to go away from seasonal at this point.
I agree. Seasonal is stupid because WoW is all about your community.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but I'm literally sitting here with a guild, and once the game ends, they kill my guild unless we can go somewhere else together. And you know yourself, if the 4 of us together just tried to decide where we're going to go, the 4 of us are going to probably go to 4 different places.
Yeah.
How do we keep us together when we all have different opinions on stuff? So seasonal doesn't work for me, because it becomes like SoD has been a part of my life now from week 1. Been playing for 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
What, a year and a half? I'm going to get my Mondays back. That sounds scary. What am I going to do on Monday?
I think that's a good point. Yeah, he probably will as well. Sad twat.
What? Then I die. He's been 35 for 4 months. That's the longest my hardcore character's ever lasted.
I don't think it counts when you don't play it. I think the clock almost stops there.
I think he's safe. All right, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm on Christmas break from Rav still. Same. I agree. The biggest thing that I agree with there, though, is the fact that WoW is a very community-driven game. Like I said earlier, with SoD, I wouldn't be enjoying it whatsoever if it actually weren't for the guild that I've just fell into, or actually dragged into kicking and screaming by Inform. It just doesn't work with seasonal. Not in the way SoD has been, where it's all really economy driven as well. Everything's so fucking expensive. It's not like you can just like ding 60 and all of a sudden be able to get everything ready to raid, and like that's the biggest downer for me personally. If I my biggest negative criticism of SoD would be how like the economy shouldn't be important at all in a seasonal server, where by the end of the season none of the gold should mean anything. Everything should be dirt cheap. Like, all right, you've still got to have an emphasis on professions, don't get me wrong, but like, how the fuck someone with no help whatsoever or doesn't buy gold gets anything done when they first ding 60 is
don't.
beyond me.
The funniest part about what you saying that, Scotty, is that Blizzard did this to the server themselves. They inflated the gold and they made all these gold sinks. Like at level 40, was it? Just trying to get your professions up was mental.
Yeah.
Well, it's part of the reason I stopped playing.
I forgot about that. You had to go inside Nomer and do all that crazy expensive stuff. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
And then the buff to gold during the daily thing with the dragons, like people were getting thousands of gold a day just doing dailies.
It's, as I say, it's part of the reason I stopped playing, because it started to be like the raiding I was enjoying in Gnomeregan, and I was looking forward to Sunken Temple. But it was the time investment that I needed outside of it to be able to get consumables. And Gho knows, when me and Gho was in full swing doing the SoD podcast, my number one complaint, Gho, when it was having to farm gold. And you was like, don't be a pussy, like everyone loves farming gold. And I'm like, well, I don't.
I do.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't. I just want to log on and raid.
Crystals all raid. Yeah.
Let me ask you a strange question, Scott, because I get this argument as well sometimes. So you've done the 20 mans now, and probably up to like 30 men or whatever, and you quit in phase 2. So, what do you prefer? I think I know your answer to this. Would you been happier if the raids had have all stayed 10 man all the way up to basically now, or are you happy? Would you be happier with the likes of what happened where we went up to 20 and now we're basically back to like mini 40 man raids?
I am fairly sure, as in I'd say 99% sure, that if the raids, if they kept 10-man raiding, and then maybe there was 25-man alongside it, obviously, but I would have still been playing today on my mage on EU. Because we had a tight-knit 10-man squad. It was just like we had the same 10 every single week. And then as soon as it was going up to 20 in Sunken Temple, none of us was interested at all anymore. Because we didn't want to recruit.
We tried to progress into Sunken Temple and it destroyed my guild. Like literally.
Really?
That's why. And we were like a super good. We had like 4 or 5 10-man groups going, and 2 that were really good. Our core one was like really, really good. And once Sunken Temple hit, man, like it completely fell apart. That's how we ended up going Horde side and joining Blazing Bob. Me and Cheesebags went over there, and we had fun with them up until pretty much the end of BWL. But yeah, that if it stayed 10 the whole way through, that was the most fun part of the beginning of SoD was our guild. Like our core, like smaller section within the guild, we were like super close, having a great time, and like that sucked.
I loved our 10-man raid team. As I say, I can more or less guarantee that if it stayed 10-man raiding all the way to the end, our 10-man would still be together now. Like I've got no doubt.
Yeah, for seasonal servers, I did SOM, but I only did that through phase 1. This one I took like a phase or 2 off, but I've enjoyed this seasonal server. So if they came out with another one, I guess it would just have to depend on what it was based on. Like, even though that I know my character's probably not going anywhere on SoD, I'm still going to be playing it for many, many months. I'm in that mindset now. Like, I have invested a lot of time, so I want to keep playing all the way until they shut the servers off. And it's going to feel bad, like when that day happens, whatever happens. If I can transfer my character somewhere, I will, but I'm not going to stop playing it, and I would play another seasonal server. But I would hope it wouldn't be like a season of discovery shit. I would want to know what's coming ahead of time. I'd want like patch notes a few weeks ahead of time. I'd want a PTR in phase 1, not until phase 4. Like I'd want stuff like that. Like I love PTR.
I like the no PTR because I'm a PTR tester. I love testing on the PTR, but I liked it in SoD because nobody knew what was going to happen. Like, there's always a subset of people like us fucking nerds that go on to the PTR and ruin it for everybody. Videos come out on a daily basis, and you get there and you're like, you know everything. But SoD, you at least got to pop in and be like, what am I doing?
It was nice for Kara. Like, I'll give you that. Like, Kara going in blind was amazing. If I would have done a Kara PTR, then that would have been kind of So I get that point too. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, next there would have been a Q&A session. I said the podcast would last 3 hours max, and it's been 4, so we've done really well. But yeah, there is no questions. We answered all of Zambi's questions last time. So, has anyone got anything else before we close out?
No.
Cool.
Just enjoying Classic.
I can fight with you any day, Scott. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll just
fight me at some point.
We'll just take this off stream instead of take this outside. We'll just take this off stream. All right, cool. Well, let's start with Hammer. Firstly, thanks for coming, mate. Obviously, apologies for the MoP bit, maybe going over your head a little bit, but it was a weird episode. But I wanted to include SoD because we're all playing it. Next week will just be pure MoP though. Go. I think we'll split it. We'll do 2 episodes. We'll do a post Phase 8, like Scarlet Raid launch, where we'll do a SoD episode, and then we'll do MoP on its own. But we need to do a MoP episode every week. Start going through the classes and just absolutely everything. So, plenty of MoP podcasts to come, boys. But Hammer, where can people find you? Just plug all your shit, everything.
Over on YouTube at Hammerdance Gaming, and over on Twitch at Hammerdance.
Cool. And streaming predominantly Season of Discovery, or do you stream anything else?
Yeah, for the most part right now. Last night I was streaming a little bit of ranking on Anniversary, but that's not very often. That's not what I'm doing. Mostly Season of Discovery.
Cool. And McNulty.
Wait,
go on.
Wait, real quick. Did you want to plug the guild on Alliance Crusader Strike?
Oh, yeah. You go ahead, go. You can plug it.
What are we doing? Just Nax and Scarlet Enclave, pretty laid back. We've got a lot of big names in there, like No Hit Jerome, Ebonheart. Sarth just came back. Hello J Tello. All the homies are in there, and anyone's welcome to join us. Alliance Crusader Strike NA. We've got Nax raids. We're doing BWLs, AQ40. We're doing all the old raids. Those are kind of like sporadic and random, but we will have a set schedule, it looks like, for Nax and Scarlet after Phase 8 that comes out. So we've got a launch night Scarlet Enclave scheduled. So if you want to join us over there, hit us up. The guild name's Phase 8. Just whisper somebody and we'll try to get you in there. Phase 9. Fuck. Phase 9. Phase 9.
You're getting a name wrong.
Yeah, I didn't make the name. I should have helped.
You should really
tabard too.
You should really at least tell them that the actual trial process is quite strict, though. Obviously, you just heard all the names that are in there. I got kicked. I failed my trial, so I had to go to EU. So you need to be better than me, but it's setting a very low bar. So.
Wait, did you just call it Phase 9 as in like advocating for another phase?
Yeah, just a meme.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, we're getting
nice one, Noe.
Get all the streamers together and make like a big massive scene about it. Like, we need more SoD.
Yep. Yeah, but it's a good time. So if anyone is interested in just looking for a chill guild to come raid with, hit us up. We are very, very not hardcore. We just cleared hard mode 2 Nax with probably 90% of the raid not even having 2 pieces of sanctified gear. So
I'm hoping once you've cleared the Scarlet Raid, I can just log on my Paladin and come and get carried through for gear. And then, yeah. As long as I can get carried, I'll play.
We'll get the form to reroll to America to get you your Ashbringer, Scott.
Yeah, well, I'm going to need for me to take it seriously on NA. I'm going to need Hammer to level 40 warlocks to summon me everywhere. That's going to be such like the first check. I'll be like, right, you got your 40 warlocks done, right? Okay, I'm in.
All right.
McNulty, where can they find you?
I just do a YouTube channel mainly, McNulty Gaming. You'll see me on Twitch as well the odd time, but I'm streaming Turtle WoW mostly at the minute and Pokemon with a mate. So not sure what people think about that.
I mean, I've got a few thoughts about the Pokemon bit. Go. I don't know why I look so disgusted when I said that. Go. Does anyone give a fuck where he is?
I'm on YouTube. I don't really do Twitch or kicking or any of that stuff. Just mainly YouTube. Mainly balanced druid stuff. Resto recently, so I'm chucking some heals out there now for the first time. And yeah, Season of Discovery, a little bit of Cata. I'm trying to get back on to do those Twilight Dungeons. Lee's been on my ass to get on there and do some with him. Bear's been on my ass to get on there and do some with him, and get some Dragon Soul XP before the phase ends and MoP is out. So yeah, I'm trying. It's hard for me to play more than one version of WoW. My brain's pretty small. I can only handle so much information at once. So I'm doing my best to try to play as much as I can.
Well, and I've put links to all their YouTube channels, and then obviously on their YouTube channels you'll be able to find their Twitch channels and Kick or wherever else they stream. But I will honestly say it's definitely worth going and following them, because I watch all three of these stream. Like, Go's pretty much my nighttime going to sleep, like background noise. And I know that's not really selling his content, but he's normal. Well,
how can you sleep with how hype I get, dude?
You have actually made me jump where I've just fell asleep and then you randomly shout for no reason and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm not even joking. That has actually happened, and this is the first time I'm telling you. But no, I do watch all three of these guys. Not so much Nolty's Pokemon, but I do watch him on Turtle WoW. Again, if anything's going to send you asleep, it's fucking vanilla leveling. It's great. And Hammer, obviously, everyone loves Hammer, and yeah, definitely go and watch the raids of Phase 9 on Crusader Strike, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and I might pop up if they decide to carry me through some shit. So, and me, obviously, if you don't know already and you're watching on YouTube, I've been back streaming on Twitch again for a couple of weeks now. Yeah, Twitch and Kick and. I'm literally on both. If I could sort out the copyright music without having to do two streams, I'd even stream on YouTube as well. But I can't not listen to good music, unfortunately. But you can join everyone over on Twitch watching. There's normally at least 2 people, and one of those is the chatbot. So, and then the other one's Stark modding the chatbot, making sure it don't get out of hand. Cool. Everybody want to say goodbye?
Before we get out of here, last chance to super chat in order to give us a podcast name. We don't really have a name yet. We're still theory crafting a name. So any super chats post VOD, whatever, I don't even know how, post stream on the VOD. We'll take a look at those, and if there's some good names out there, we'll pick one from your suggestions and carry that on for the next episode.
Yeah, and just to be completely
today.
To be completely clear on that as well, Go, and everybody else, if you don't super thanks or super chat suggestions, we're not just making one up. Like, this podcast will have no name until we get some good suggestions on what it's going to be called. And then and only then will this podcast get a name. Until then, every thumbnail is going to say the podcast with no name. And I have a feeling that's going to become the name of the podcast. So, yeah, nice one, boys. Thank you everyone for watching. Hammer, Nolty, thanks for coming on. Go, it's actually been a pleasure talking to you again, mate. Good night.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for having me.
Take care, guys.
Good luck.
I mean, I'm just going to leave it like this for a minute, because YouTube always cuts off. And the last time I just ended the stream after saying bye, it was a guest that was saying bye, and I just ended it immediately, and people started flaming me in the comments saying I was rude because it was like Hammer went bye, and I went end. But I didn't. It just YouTube's end delay is a little bit weird, so I'm going to end it.